ulit, pre.
G? -1?
Ay, Max. Ano na?
We can.
4 seconds.
Lagyan mo -1. G? Just fried chicken. Zia. No pure.
Sige.
No pure Zia.
Zia, pre.
Bulo mo. Okay,
Dali.
Nice.
Help me basic.
Yo, Beno.
Sige, tapos to, in the ball to. Sige, sama-sama na kayo mga tanga. O, mga bobo.
Ingat. Ayan. First goal, careful to...
Sige, may imo ko, pre. In the ball. Pre, foul lang ako.
Power lang.
Nice.
Ay, nakita nyo. Ay, gitna. Patay.
Take.
Alice.
Patay na.
Alice.
Alis, pre. Bobo!
You wanna get it? Yeah, 4v, sir.
Ito, pre. Basta, gago! Bobo!
Alright. Go top.
Chris, tangat. Lapit.
Buhay natin, tara.
Abulin niya. Lapit ka. Gago, bulin ka. Igong, tara, pre.
Apat dito, pre. Go top.
Easy.
Ay, dali.
Cover.
Master this bush control will win your team the game. Hey guys, it's Liz here, and welcome back to another episode of Strategy Dissect. Today, I want to show you another important tip that can change how your team plays MLBB. I call it the Lord winning bush, and we all know what Lord means in MLBB. I mean, hopefully. Directly speaking, it's the mid bush close to the Lord side. Around 9 minutes into the first game between C9 and BTK, Lord spawned on the top side. Notice how Shark was able to walk into the Lord winning bush initially with Hoon's help, but he quickly wandered away a few seconds after Valentina walked inside of the bush. This effectively gave up the Lord side of the map control to C9, which resulted in C9 taking the Lord without much pressure. Now let's go back a few seconds. If Shark had coordinated engage with Hoon onto Valentina, they could have landed a devastating blow onto their opposition mid laner, wasting Marcuti's ultimate or Purify or both, while maintaining pressure on Lord's side to buy time for his team. And now let's take a look at a different example. Around 9 minutes into Game 2, BTK effectively gained control over the Lord winning bush this time. Because of that, Cloud9 had to make a huge detour just to safely arrive at the same destination. This brought BTK valuable time to quickly burst the Lord down and want control over the game. How about let's test this theory on the world stage? 9 minutes into Game 2 of Fnatic Onyx PH versus Falcons AP Bren, you can see a constant juggle of mid Lord winning bush control. Eventually, Onyx PH was able to capitalize on Fuse's missteps and gain back the control over the Lord winning bush. And what follows is a beautiful execution of Onyx style Lord fight to snowball the game. Hopefully this is all helpful. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn that bell on. We will see you on the next episode of Strategy Dissect. The journey's been grueling, the battles unforgiving, and only the best of NA are still remaining. 3 weeks of Swiss rounds swept us into the playoff stage where 4 teams will clash for the championship title and a chance at international glory. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 1 of the playoffs for the NACT 2024 Fall. I'm your host Liz, joined alongside by yours truly, Private Dancer, and Steph Weezy.
Hey, you heard Liz, the best in North America is still remaining, and we're still here. Glad to officially be a part of the playoffs this NACT.
Yeah, the air is thick with anticipation. Whatever happened during the season is all in smoke and dust. Right here, it's the playoffs where everything matters.
Everything is starting new, and let's take a look, a recap of everything that happened in the Swiss rounds. We have 3 rounds of the Swiss rounds, best out of 4s, not best out of 4s, 4 games total, and the teams with the top points are here with us in the playoffs.
That's right. As Liz mentioned, the top 4 teams scoring the highest on the board, able to make it through, able to fight it out, and now the stakes are even higher. Those 4 teams will be Cloud9, BTK, Gosu Nighthorde, and Godspeed.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we say goodbye to 4 teams who didn't make it. Even some of my favorites. They're a little bit of heartbreak as we take a look at the playoff format. This first round between these 4 teams will be played in a best of 5. Those ones who go down to the losers round will be playing theirs in a best of 3. Some exciting matchups here to come.
Unfortunately for all our viewers, some of your favorite teams are still here. Today's matches, top of the hour, will be Cloud9 versus Godspeed, and at 8 o'clock we'll have BTK versus Gosu Nighthorde.
And a little bit of a fun fact for match 1. This will be the first time we get to see Cloud9 up against Godspeed. We didn't get to see it in the regular season, and yet still able to find some surprises.
Yeah, we're going to see if there are any surprises there. Maybe Gosu Nighthorde might have a little surprise in store for BTK, as this will be their second meeting.
Well, we haven't even gotten to the first match, and Private's already getting ahead of ourselves. For the players, they're still looking at a $25,600 total cash prizes, 1.5 million diamonds, a total value of $50,000. That's a lot of dollars, and a chance at M6.
Yeah, a lot of diamonds, a lot of money on the line as well. And that ticket to M6 to not only be the best in North America and also hold that banner, but also be the best in the world. Not to mention this NACT, the stakes have been climbing, and so has the talent pool. We've got all the restreamers watching it across the world, sharing the NACT fall season, and also putting it on the big screen for us to enjoy. Biggest viewer participation ever.
Yeah, this year has been huge for Mobile Legends. We saw them in the EWC, saw them in MSC. Things are only looking to grow bigger with the M Series.
And we can't do it without your support. For all the viewers at home, we have once again a giveaway for everyone. On the screen, you see a code and a QR code to scan for 30-month skin for Akai. That's some very interesting skins, so make sure you're one of the first to scan that code and get the skin.
Yeah, make sure you scan it as soon as you can. It's not region locked. Anybody across the world can claim it. Only 30 available. As soon as you scan the code, it should take you in game. You still have to type in that long strip of coding right there. So make sure you screenshot it and save it and get it while it's available.
Yeah, and for those of you who might be viewing on your phone and unable to scan it, you can actually go into the description of the YouTube video and you'll find a link there to put in the code as well.
Well, Weezy must have scanned that code and tried to get one of the skins because I didn't even know that information. So you guys better be quick and beat Weezy to the game and make sure you get one of the skins. Now for the first anticipated series of the day. For Godspeed, we have Divine on the XP lane, Shiro in the jungle, Restart in the mid lane, Joybotch on Roam, and Sairi on the gold lane.
Yeah, definitely a stacked roster. We can't wait to see them compete. Godspeed, led over there by Joybotch, who we've seen him in previous NACT spearhead the way on some of the top teams, and definitely knows what it takes to go the distance. And hopefully today we can see them go a little bit further.
Yeah, exactly. I expect this team to be leaning heavily on the experience of a Joybotch, taking the same roster that was able to surprise us against BTK last week and maybe bring some of that same magic here tonight.
can their momentum face up against Cloud9? Because Cloud9 are sticking with their original 5 for the rosters. Naz on the XP lane, best player in the jungle, Marcutie in the mid lane, Cold World on Roam, and Basic on the gold lane. They're pretty much undefeated this season.
Yeah, and both sides sticking to what's been working, not going to make any adjustments. And hey, I'm all for it. I believe if you build that synergy, even through losing, you can be even stronger at the end past the finish line. And hopefully today, like you said, this will be the first time we can see both of these teams compete. We didn't get to see it at all in the regular season, so we got to see who can go the distance.
Yeah, bringing in a stacked roster and a stacked staff behind them to support this team. We're going to see if they can continue their winning ways where it matters, and that is here in the playoffs.
And they've continued growing this entire season. They started off a little bit on the wrong foot in the first week, but ever since that, they've pretty much had a lot of surprising games, even to the viewers that didn't believe that they can take 2 games from BTK last week.
You know, on the other side of the table for Cloud9, I'm wondering if they're still boot camping over there at G's house, because we got to see them perform up against BTK with an amazing performance. With the Nats prediction on top of that with the 3-1, just able to push through with everybody sitting in G the Ico's living room. So I wonder if they're still in that same situation. I mean, it kind of benefits them, that, especially with shot calling and MS issues. So we'll have to see. Definitely pay attention to those cameras while we're inside of the game.
Yeah, and when we talk about how their performances, especially with such a decisive series win over BTK, with them still camping out, with them still together, you know that this is a team that is only growing stronger. So that's something that a lot of people are going to have their eyes on with their performance here tonight.
I mean, are they still camping on in G the Ico's room? Because, I mean, it's been a couple weeks. For G, it's been a long time, but I'm sure they're having fun, and we get to find out right now as the draft is ready. So guys, take us into the draft.
And away we go into the draft for our first series of the playoffs for the NACT fall season. Private, we've made it. Cloud9 up against Godspeed. How we feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm very excited here because, like I said, I usually love to see some of the underdog teams. Godspeed kind of coming up from nowhere. Besides Joybaj, not too many players here have made it to the top of NACT in recent memory. So to see these guys here in the playoffs taking on a team like Cloud9, I'm very excited to see what they can put out there. And surprising already, Soyu already taken off as some deeming as a threat here by Cloud9.
Yeah, me and you kind of had the discussion right before stream started about the Soyu and just how impactful it's starting to become. We got to see a little bit of a sneak peek of it. We got to see Mobizayan pull it out. He was very dominant on his performance, throwing it inside of the jungle as well. Even though there's not really a traditional ultimate, just the skills is enough to really wreak some havoc when in the right hands. So taking that off the board, I wonder how that's going to impact the current meta with other picks that are still available on the table. We're still seeing the R-Lot up for the taking, the Edith as well. Both of them great options, especially this early in the draft. We're still seeing things like the Hylos hasn't been banned out, and that's just one of the beautiful things about the way the meta's been shifting, right? You just never know which way it's going to go, but you can't out-ban everything.
Yeah, and then that kind of brings in the question, are we maybe going to prioritize some of the junglers? And no, that answer is no. They're going to go ahead with the Gatakacha, which is actually, I want to say, within the last few weeks has become a very strong pick with the amount of damage he can take in the early game, especially scaling out to that mid and late game where he just becomes this wall for your team to be able to take aggro, to get the entire team pretty much to kind of like focus him down. It's a very interesting pick to have on your team, and especially for a team like Cloud9, where we've seen Cold World absolutely grow as a roam.
Yeah, we just know how well it is, especially with the Avatar of the Guardian for the setups. It is going to be paired up with that Khalid on the opposite side. We got to see the Khalid, another hero, kind of with the same story, right? Rising to the occasion. The first one we got to see was Nats over there, use it on Cloud9, and he performed really well. And then a lot of the teams in North America started to do the same thing. I feel like it's kind of shifted over there from MPO Indonesia and the Philippines, and it's been working great in America as well. Speaking of things that's been working great, the Cho on the table. We've seen Joybaj time and time again execute it, right? He's the footwork, the mobility, the initial setups with the way of the Dragon's been huge and very impactful, and something that Godspeed can lean in on.
Yeah, and something we haven't seen in a while, I want to say, is the CC pickup in the XP lane. When we go into the XP lane, we usually kind of have been starting to favor a lot of the setting potential that comes from a lot of the XP laners. CC, while not a big setter, coincidentally not according to her name, she doesn't actually have any CC. She just has the ability to burst down heroes and kind of keep up that sustain, which will kind of cue well if she's going to be facing that Khalid in lane, who has a very strong early game where he's going to want to clear, he's going to want to invade, he's going to want to be a nuisance to the enemy jungler.
We did get to see a sneak peek of this matchup in week 3 of the regular season. It was Ghost Night Horde up against Overskilled, and they pulled out the CC as a response to the Khalid pickup, and they were actually able to find a victory with it. So maybe it's a possible counter on the way. You know, I guess doing some research and using it for Cloud9 side of the table, I guess we officially have an answer to the monstrosity that Khalid has been dealing, the sandstorm that's been wreaking havoc in the land of Dawn. Now, speaking of wreaking havoc, we talked about a lot of the meta, right? We do know it's assassin favored, a lot of prio onto the Ling, and has been picked up by Godspeed. So now they have even more mobility. They're starting to get a very dive-eccentric composition, right? Not only do you have Cho, who can rush in, he can get the way of the dragon, he can knock somebody back for an initial setup, but you also have Ling, who can dive into the turret with the Finch Poise, get out with little to no problem. So that is another thing that Cloud9 is going to have to watch out for. They do lock in this Aurora, though, which means they do have some single target CC and also some crowd control as well to work in their favor. Maybe be able to stop the Ling in his tracks if they're quick enough. But the way I'm seeing things so far, I'm liking the way it's looking. We're yet to see what's going to be ran inside of the gold lane.
Yeah, and I see us going ahead, starting to iron down on some of those assassin pickups, taking off the board there. Fanning taking off the board for Godspeed. Moskov taking off the board there for Cloud9. The big thing about the big 3 that we have for Cloud9 here is I feel like this is a composition right now that can hold their own in the objective. They don't, on the other side where it comes to Godspeed, I feel like they're more of kind of a sneaking in. As soon as they get an opportunity, find a pick, then they can kind of rush in and try to find that. Whereas Cloud9 has a more steady and sustained route, that they have a good, nice, thick tank right up in front that can take a lot of the damage, that can give Cloud9 the time that they need to get those retributions off. And they're going to need it too with Joybaj on a Cho.
Yeah, and definitely going to be huge and very impactful, and something they're going to have to watch out for. Now, looking at the ban so far, right, we're seeing a little bit of limited marksman pool. We've seen the Moskov and the Carry taken off the table, the Ruby as well, which is not leaving too many options. I mean, I guess technically you still have the Herod. There goes the Claude being taken off the table as well. Now, we have seen Cloud9, they like to switch it up, right? They don't really usually throw in the same hero, just showcasing to the world that their hero pool is infinite. We got to see the Natan sneak up to the scene. It's been very impactful for them as well. They were able to get a victory off of Maple Leaf, pulling that out. Maybe that could be something that they can do here, especially because you have the entropy. You need somebody that can escape from this Ling when he does dive in. And speaking of diving, throwing that Alice in on top of this is a full dive-eccentric composition from Godspeed.
Yeah, and that's going to be very interesting too, because Basic does favor a lot of those actual marksman's picks, where we've seen a lot of teams have kind of widened out that gold lane to fit in a lot of other heroes. And speaking of which, we're going to have a Harith in the lane as well. Hayabusa, a great pick for best player, somebody on an assassin who can get in and get out of harm's way, some ability to negate a lot of damage with that shadow kill. But not just that, if by some chance Godspeed does get the lead, does start pushing forward, and you get Cloud9 on the back foot, what we've seen from them, what we've seen from best player, is he really shines on that assassin to be able to get to those side lanes, create pressure by split pushing to where teams can't even take the Lord without the threat of pressure coming in from all different lanes.
And a little bit of insurance from Godspeed to wrap up their draft as well. They are going to pick up this Angela. This is going to be played by Restart in the mid lane, going up against that Aurora. Both sides ready to go. Joybaj running on that Cho, Coworld on that Gatat. Both of them definitely able to execute when it comes down to these team fights. Now, it's assassin versus assassin. We've got the Ling for the side of Godspeed up against the Hayabusa. Both of them super early. Their whole objective is to pave the way in the early game. Where Ling kind of shines a little bit better, though, against the Hayabusa is Shiro has the ability to split push a little bit more, especially toward that mid to late game if they do fall off in these objectives. But speaking of objectives, now boiling into the land of Dawn for the first game of the playoffs.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it begins. Cloud9, the inaugural playoff game against Godspeed. Both teams looking to set the tone here.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out whose tone is a little bit louder. Best player definitely running on something he's comfortable on. We know he thrives in the jungle when it comes to the assassins, but Shiro rising to the occasion, a new star this NACT fall season, and he's been pretty dominant. You can't, discredit Godspeed, even though Cloud9 is definitely the more favored, and Godspeed would be the underdog. Godspeed almost took down BTK. It came down to the last game, losing that series 2-3. So I wonder who's going to be able to lead the way in the early phase. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, that early game we were talking about him coming in. Coldworld able to find a kill. Divine in trouble. He rushed from the bottom lane to try to help out, but still, Cloud9 walking away with the first blood.
Yeah, Joybosh, he's definitely, he's a little too excited, a little too early, right? You want to kind of gauge what type of time Cloud9 is on. You don't want to allow them to get any advantage, especially in the early phase. They're a team, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. I mean, look at the team right now. They're all sitting. Looks like they're at GD Aiko's kitchen right now at his dining table, ready to play this out for this series in the playoffs.
Yeah, there's no better point to bring up to us is if that is going to be a factor here. Having them all right next to each other. They don't need to have headsets. They don't need to be in Discord. They don't maybe get cut out when they say something. They're right next to each other. So they're going to be able to kind of keep that communication fast and clear with each other. Still right now, looking for an opportunity. Divine being pushed back a bit in his lane and no worse for wear at mid. Oh, actually taking down to about 10%. Restart coming in, looking for the stun at Nats, but does get distance away as the first turtle comes up.
Yeah, first turtle is now on the board. Both sides looking to go for it, but best player in a great position for the retry. But look at Shiro.
Ooh, yeah, he's perched up. He does have the Tempest of Blades is out looking for the retribution. He gets it. And Mark Cutie in trouble. Way of the Dragon slams onto him, boosting him into the team. The passive goes off, and he is able to get away. Shiro in trouble, but that Angeling combo is more than Cloud9 can take. They weren't able to burst him down, and luckily, Godspeed get away. Actually, both teams get away without a scratch.
Yeah, neither side gonna find any casualties right there, but the turtle does go over to Godspeed to give him the slightest advantage, maybe making up for Joyboz falling that early in this game. Definitely still has a little bit of fight on their side. We are looking at best player now shifting his focus into the jungle, trying to catch back up. We got to see how these assassins start to play into this though, right? Outside of just the objectives on the map, such as the turtles and their buffs, we got to see how they play into possibly getting these early game kills on the side lanes.
Ooh, a big way of the Dragon, followed by a Tempest of Blades coming out, and down goes a best player. A little bit of CC coming out from Mark Cutie is not quick enough to save his teammate, and now bringing the kills to a tie.
Yeah, a smart play over there by Joyboz. Yes, he was overly aggressive in the early game, led to a death on his side, but then able to make up for it by not only helping secure that turtle, but also catching best player out of position on that purple buff and finding a way to set up him for a kill. And that kill goes into the hands of Joyboz as well. So off to a good start. Both sides tied 1-1 at the 3-minute mark. We are going to see, we got to see who's going to be able to get these late game items though, right? We're looking at the Harith going up against the Alice inside of the gold lane, both of them running magic heroes, so we're gonna see how effective it can be. We see the Alice has a lot more mobility, able to dive, able to create that opportunity for the AoE damage, but the Harith, he can get up close and personal.
Well, yeah, and the Harith right now, he started with the little cheese build where you get the Azura sword and the mage pages first, so he's gonna have his max cooldown that he needs to throw down the Zaman Force and spam out that dashing ability to be able to do the maximum amount of damage to the enemy teammates there. Oh, Joyboz finds another one. Way of the Dragon is out there. Purify is out. Joyboz actually in a little bit of trouble, taken down to 50%. In comes Divine to put on some damage. Nats here messing with Shiro. Is it going to be enough to distract him? Avatar the Guardian slams down, but Tempest the Blade makes a short work of that. Angela with the Heart's Guard. Best player finds the Lord, and Ling is getting out of dodge.
Oh.
Yeah, Divine. Oh, the passive! And that might be it for Divine, who goes a little too deep. And Aurora had the passive there, froze herself, and was able to get out of it.
That's that early game insurance. if I say so myself. Now up by 2 kills and also able to secure that turtle to even up the objectives on the board for both sides. Now, Cloud9, like I said, their team, you give them an inch, they take a mile. There goes Nats on the bot side, already going to take that tier 3 turret, which is going to open up the map and allow him to rotate even more on this map. We mentioned the CC being a possible answer, especially up against the Khalid, and now the battle on the way.
Another Way of the Dragon does land. Down goes Nats. A big CC does catch 3 members. Now the score looking at 3-2. And just what you were talking about with that matchup, when it does come to the CC and it does come to that Khalid, she doesn't even have to really face him in the lane. The moment he rotates, she's going to be able to burst down the minions. The amount of damage that she can do to a tower so quickly is going to mean he's going to be punished every single time he rotates, and even more if he gets killed like we saw earlier.
Yeah, the Starlight Requiem picked up over there by Basic, starting to get to those core items. You are looking at the Alice picking up the Clock of Destiny as well. But top side, a little bit of a taunt.
Yeah, Sairi's going to be able to get out of harm's way. You can see Divine there looking for an opportunity. A flicker goes out to avoid the Avatar of the Guardian, and yeah, they're going to be able to kind of push this away, but you see the pressure already starting to mount at top, and 50% down is the health of that tower.
And we are seeing Shiro on the Ling doing some great split pushing on the bot side, forcing Nats to kind of rotate back and defend his lane.
Oh, and here comes the Hearts Guard. Is it going to be enough to save him? It is not. Restart trying to punish Coldworld from the backside. You can see Divine comes in, finds a kill onto best player, the Tempest of Blades under the tower. Coldworld almost gets picked off, but Basic is able to turn it around, find the kill on Shiro.
Ooh, that's 2 high-value targets to your jungler and your ADC taken down. Only losing best player in the process. That's definitely going to be a win inside of Cloud9's book. And also able to take the turret on the top side. Both tier 3 turrets for the bottom and the top side have now been pushed in. Look at Nas damage onto Divine. We're only 7 minutes in. Even though we're not stacked up in kills, you're starting to see a heavy pressure in the early game won over by Cloud9.
Sairi dove into the wrong bush and got mollywopped by 4 members of Cloud9. They just burst him down like he was nothing. That's going to go ahead, set up this next objective, this next turtle, as we see even the mid tower, the entire first row of towers taken down except for that mid, but I want to say that mid hanging on by a thread.
Hunter Strike picked up over there by best player as well. You see the Feather Heaven picked up over there by Basic. Both sides fighting it out in the mid lane. The tier 3 turret will be pushed in. Now only standing with their tier 2s for Godspeed. Pushed a little bit further on their side of the jungle. Cloud9 now able to evade with little to no issue. Right now it's just been a battle of chess, and they've been 1 step ahead of Godspeed at every single second. We got to see, how does Godspeed turn this around, right? How can they find a way to put this game back in their favor?
Well, I mean, they're trying their best. Oh, you have the Hearts Guard here. Basic actually might be in a little bit of trouble. Avatar the Guardian comes out for the save, and he's still able to get the kill onto Basic, using that Finch pose to get away. This combination, this Angeling that we've seen so many times when Assassin meta is up there, is just so strong. It means that you have that little bit of insurance anywhere on the map at any time.
Yeah, it allows you to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, Way of the Dragon comes out. Quad Shadows, best player, narrowly able to find a way to get himself out. Nats here trying to put on the damage. In goes Sairi, finds best player in the bush. Meanwhile, Joyboss still trying to put some damage onto this tower, and they are going to be able to get out of their. Nats looking locked onto Joyboss. Going to be able to use that Jikundo, hopefully to get himself away. Sairi trying to provide some recovery fire there as well. We do have the Tempest of Blades here onto Basic again. Is this going to be enough? Goes in on Basic, who's dashing for his life and able to defend his tower. Coldworld coming from the mid lane. Avatar the Guardian, Shiro, easily avoids it. It avoids the dash from him as well. In comes best player. This might be it for both Shiro and a Restart, who finds himself on the bad end of a shadow kill. Now the reinforcements from Godspeed coming in, trying to make Cloud9 pay. Joybaj with the Way of the Dragon, best player finds 2 kills again onto Godspeed. 10-4 right now.
Oh, man. Almost a full wipeout. Divine needing to go back to safety. Cold World, Mark Cutie, not wasting any time. We'll be able to take the tier 2 in the mid lane. 4 members down for Godspeed. Cloud9 not losing a single teammate, extending the lead 10-2 for a massive advantage and creating the opportunity for them to be able to take this Lord. It started with Basic outpositioned, outnumbered by Shiro and Restart, but what was once in their favor turned into something to work in for Cloud9. They were able to not only get the kills, able to take 4 members down, and also able to take majority of the search. 2 tier 2s fallen, not only the one in the mid, but also the one on the top side.
Ooh, Shiro going in against... Ooh, best player comes in. The Hearts Guard was hovering there, so I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe a miscommunication by Restart there to come in as best player came in and just absolutely put on the big damage. Syri now with the Hearts Guard trying to take down the team. He's going to flicker, but still gets taken down by Nats. The CC coming out from Mark Cutie as the rest of the team focuses down to that mid tower. Lord is bounding its way. Avatar the Guardian zones back the rest of Godspeed. In comes best player, Shadow Kill onto Divine. Not able to find the kill, but the team finds the first core.
Able to take down the base Crystal. 1 game down. First match of the playoffs secured by Cloud9 over Godspeed. 12-5-21 finish for the overall KDA of the team. The boys were on fire with little to no mistakes, which leads to the question, where did Godspeed go wrong?
Well, I mean, where it's at this level of play style, it's sometimes a little easier to focus on not what the team did wrong, but what Cloud9 was doing right. And that, with every single kill that they were getting, I want to say after the 2nd minute mark, every single kill they got resulted in an objective, resulted in a tower, resulted in them going for a turtle immediately. They didn't linger around. They didn't try to chase kills that weren't necessary. They just answered when they were being attacked or when they had a gank, and they took those towers so quickly that it was only an 11-minute match.
Yeah, and I think it kind of boiled down to when Shiro was on the bot side, paired up with Restart, trying to get the 2v1 on Basic, and then Basic able to outshine them on the 1v2 and wait for his team to rotate around and follow through with the counter. And they were able to get the kills, and then you got to see Godspeed. They thought they had a counter to their counter, but then that got countered again over there by Cloud9 to lead to 4 kills and able to kind of push through majority of those tier 2s, and the gap right there was just too big. Cloud9's not that type of team. You can't let them scale you at least that far in terms of kills and gold that early in the game, or they're going to go for the early finish. And that was an early finish, like you said, that 11-minute game so far for game number 1 up against Godspeed. Game number 2. We got to see, you know, how Godspeed can turn this around. This is a little bit different than the regular season. We're not playing for points anymore. This is an official best of 5.
Oh man, you can take a look at some of the highlights here coming back. They were able to find some opportunities and some kills out there as well. I believe here, this was a turning point for them too as well. Divine kind of underestimated, especially that passive that comes out from Mark Cutie on that Aurora, found himself in the bad way on the wrong side of a tower, taking some easily avoidable deaths there. Here, I mean, it was just the amount of pressure that Cloud9 was able to put on, immediately being answered there by Godspeed, but still not able to put these deaths, not able to put these kills into a force that could take the tower for them. At least it wasn't able to take as many towers as Cloud9 was when they were successful. And here's that kind of that second to last fight where Godspeed came in for the answer to try to punish Cloud9. They came in, they found the gank. I think they were even able to find a kill at one point, but then it got turned around. Cloud9 found the kills on their side and were immediately able to push through mid.
Yeah, and that's what kind of spiraled to the downfall for Godspeed in game number 1, as you see right here. That lets them being able to open up not only the tier 2s, but also get to the base crystal with a Lord on their side because there was nobody left to defend. You see Shiro and Sairi not even in the game, currently waiting to respond back. And overall, some surgical execution from Cloud9 for game number 1. I'm agreeing with you, though, when it comes to both sides. There's a lot that went right. There's just a lot more that went in Cloud9's favor, especially up against Godspeed for game number 1. But it's not too far out of the ballpark, right? We got to see some good showcasing from Sho over there from Joy Bosch. It looked a little shaky in the beginning when he was first blood, but then he got some nasty setups on best player on that Hayabusa. But they had a heavy dive-centric composition, and they weren't able to effectively dive in and get those kills.
Well, I want to say that the tankiness in the Gatakacha, the insurance policy in that passive of Aurora really kind of offset the Khalid pick, who like really was trying to go in. Like he came in, rotated very early to be able to help with the fights, and Cloud9 still able to find a first blood because Gatakacha immediately was able to use the healing spell out there, keep himself topped up, and then when we saw in the replay on the back end, Khalid trying to go on the back, trying to find the kill onto Aurora, immediately procs the that ice crowned type of passive where she turns into ice, and that means that Khalid, he has no target and he's on the wrong side of a tower where Cloud9 is starting to burst him down. A well thought out plan there by Cloud9 to have some of these picks that could withstand some of that early game damage and really negate where Khalid likes to shine.
You know, and it's something I want to kind of point out when it comes to Cloud9's hero pool, right? If you, even looking at Godspeed, they're now first pick in the draft. And you're looking at two of the bands that kind of shine to me, right? The Fanny and the Khalid. Mentioned when Cloud9 was first picked, they didn't worry about banning a Fanny or also worry about banning a Khalid, which opened up opportunity to ban some other heroes, right? But when you're just so good at playing specific heroes, you force a lot of teams to ban them out, such as the Fanny, which is opens up a lot on the table, especially being second in the draft for Cloud9. But here goes a good pickup. I'm all for it. It's definitely been a crowd favorite with the revamp of the Phoveus not being magic anymore, but just full physical damage. Is that one of the key answers that they can lean in on to turn the series back around?
Yeah, and I was going to say, too, like, one of the only kind of counters that you've had against the Phoveus is usually that early game damage that you can have from the Khalid. The problem is here is, well, not the problem. The thing that Godspeed is going to have to kind of key in on with the Phoveus pick is once Phoveus goes in, it's a wrap. He's staying in. There's really no escape for him. So the entire team needs to be on that. They need to be able to kind of close and seal the deal, get those kills off, or at least be able to push the team back. And that's something that Divine's going to need to be able to potentially do too as well. Get that demonic force onto heroes, but not too far back to where the team's going to be able to kite you so far back that you're separated from your team and they're not able to assist you with an escape.
Speaking of escapes, they're going to lock in their marksman very early. It's going to have a little bit of mobility, survivability on its side. The Natan has been slotted in for Godspeed, maybe trying to force Cloud9 to pick up their ADC right here, because if they don't, effectively, you're going to see a couple of marksman bans that may limit what Basic can bring to the table. They already banned out the Ruby on top of that. Now, I do like the Alpha. I feel like it's effective. You kind of mentioned the Phoveus. Once he gets into the heart of the battle, your team has to kind of be there with him. He's not the most mobile hero to get back out to safety. So if he decides to initiate, it's time to fight. But when you have a hero such as the Alpha, with the Alpha charge, he has some crowd control of his own, which could be very effective to keep that Phoveus in his tracks and potentially burst him down. Now, the Sicilian, we've been seeing it sneak into the scene. It's been very effective, being able to play from afar, use the Bat's Feet, the Sanguine Claws as well. It's been huge. I love seeing these heroes that didn't get the spotlight for a while in the meta, now rising back up to the occasion. And I feel like that's okay, because when you have a hero like the Phoveus who plays up close and personal and he's not highly mobile, if you have a backline mage who can sit from afar and have some amazing range to be able to burst him down, it could be a possible answer.
Yeah, and with that, you've got some insurance, because the Sicilian is going to be able to stay very far back. If Phoveus dares to try to use that demonic force, if he's able to catch Sicilian to go back there, you've got the Matilda that's going to be able to use that guiding wind to pull Sicilian to another direction. And it's going to be very hard here, because we don't really have a guaranteed backline dive, where I want to say a more controlled backline dive, where it's going to be one of those things that you're you're going to have to be very careful about your usage of this ability, as we're going ahead taking out Ling for the side of Cloud9.
Now, there's still some picks on the board that don't want to be overlooked by the side of Godspeed. The Gatat could still be put in the XP lane since you are running the support in that roam position. You could also pull out the Hylos, who is yet to get the respect he deserves, could be pulled out in the XP lane as well for the side of Cloud9. And this is what we kind of talk about when it comes to their hero pool. It's pretty much infinite. Godspeed, though, they have a couple of answers that they're going to try and lean in on, right? Not only do they have this Natan for a lot of burst damage and also survivability, but you also have the Aurora who can freeze those in its tracks and provide some great crowd control, especially for this Phobius, who's going to be running into the heart of the battle. But we are yet to see what they're going to put in that jungle. We got to see the Bane banned out. The Ling's been banned out. Hayabusa is still on the table. The Julian could be effective. We've seen it work time and time again this NACT. But what is Godspeed going to pull out here? Keep in mind, like we mentioned, it's make it or break it. We're now in the playoffs. If you lose, there's a lower bracket, but after that, you're done. And the lower bracket's only best of 3. Upper bracket's best of 5. So you definitely want to even out the series as soon as possible.
Yeah, and with that, I want to say, like, you might not be knocked out of the playoffs with a lost series here, but what you gain is just so much better, which is some breathing room. You afford yourself some time to relax a bit, because you don't have your last opportunity at the bottom bracket where things can kind of make or break you here. We do see Claude going to be locked in by Cloud9. The only thing for me right now when it comes to Godspeed is I want to say a little bit of that early game. I don't think we have too much in there to kind of take away from the what we're going to have with the Alpha, with the Matilda, that could kind of contend there in that early game. Hayabusa here, while he's a great pick, he does take some items, does need some time to kind of get online to really do a ton of damage as well.
And I'm right there with you, right? When I'm looking at Cloud9, I don't really see an early game composition. I see that mid to late game power spike is when they'll be more effective, which means they're going to have to stop the early aggression. And we saw Godspeed have early aggression, especially with Joybaj on that show. This time around, though, he is going to be running the Kufra, another dive-oriented roamer, looking for some setups. And with the Hayabusa, that's going to be their game plan. The glue now going to be picked up by NAS. I haven't seen a glue in a while. I think the last time we saw a glue was with fried chicken this NACT fall season. So now it's going to be this time Cloud9 and NAS showcasing it. It has great survivability as well inside of that XP lane. And it's going to be paired up against that Phobius, which is definitely going to be an interesting matchup. Now, with both sides locked in, getting ready for round number 2, Godspeed, they need to find a way to turn this around. Cloud9, they need to find a way to claim this series in their favor. If they take game number 2, they're one step closer to moving forward in the playoffs and knocking down Godspeed into the lower bracket.
Yeah, and right here with these compositions, I'm going to be paying close attention to the roams here, because it's going to be on the sets of Joybaj. Is he going to be able to get those sets, get those Tyrant's Revenge, get that Tyrant's Rage to really CC down the side of Cloud9? And is Cold World going to be able to find the opportunities, to find those guiding wins, to pull his team out of harm's way, especially with such a dive-centric composition coming from Godspeed? But ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be game 2. Godspeed definitely looking to even the odds against Cloud9.
Yeah, a lot of questions that needs answers, and we're going to get them all with game number 2. The whole objective for Godspeed with this dive-oriented composition is to focus on the early game, take advantage, and be aggressive. Cloud9, they have to wait. They have to play passive, and they need to get to that mid to late game to really shine and have the damage they're looking for. But will Godspeed give them that time?
Yeah, and that's going to be the big question here. Already, best player very quickly making his way through the jungle, scoops up the gold minion. Oh, and you can see right there, big pop-up. In comes Shiro, trying to put on the damage. Is it going to be enough? It is not. Puts on a little bit of damage, gets best player down to about 10%, but Cold World right in the neighborhood to provide support in the name of that guiding wins.
That's what we were looking for, though. These are the plays you have to make, especially with this composition. Game number 1, they had a similar strategy, right? They had a lot of dive-oriented heroes, but not able to find the kills. Speaking of kills, though, look at the damage already.
Yeah, Restart very wisely does find the CC onto Cold World, onto Nats to stop them from that engagement. Shiro actually gets a little bit of an immobilization there. Best player scooping up another gold minion, putting him just narrowly ahead of the enemy jungler as well.
Yeah, both sides getting ready for this first turtle. Shiro on these quad shadows. 4 seconds to go. Now, in terms of the team fight, it should be more in Godspeed's favor because they have a little bit more of an aggressive composition. But speaking of aggressiveness, the 2v1 on the top side, Nats forced into the tier 3 turret.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was about to bring up. You brought up they should have the advantage. They should have the advantage if everybody is paying attention to the objective, which they weren't. They were up there trying to put some damage onto Nats, and maybe that was a call made by Godspeed that they weren't going to go for this first objective. Ooh, a lot of damage goes on to the Cold World. Sanguine Claws come down onto Restart. Ooh, he's trying to dodge, but he cannot dodge the damage coming out from Marcutie. You saw that Joybaj was getting ready to kind of come in. Not needed just yet. But yeah, you definitely got to be in there for those objectives. Joybaj gets caught there, is going to have to use that flicker. He gets a retribution for his troubles, pushed away and taken down. Best player finds the kills. Bat's feast is out for Marcutie. They do find a first blood.
Yeah, able to find the kill, maybe able to get another to match up with it. But Cloud9 taking down Joybaj. She's first blood 2 games in a row so far. It's the 3rd time the charm. That's going to be something we asked for game number 3. But Cloud9 able to find the turtle yet again. And a kill.
Oh, man, comes in with the alpha charge. Ashiro with the quad shadows, luckily able to save himself. And this is something that we brought up during the season, that it's going to have to be on the roams to not get caught before objectives or checking bushes. It's something that a lot of the bigger teams really take advantage of if they find that weakness where a roam might not be prepared, might be a little too far out where his team can't help out. And Joybaj, you talked about it, he's gotten he's been the first blood twice in the last 2 games here, and he needs to be more careful with some of these engagements.
Yeah, you're going to see the corrosion side picked up by Basic. He's going to have that hit, providing that slow to be able to take down some members. Speaking of taking down,
yeah, Joybaj, again, as we mentioned, gets bursted down. Divine in trouble, finds himself on the wrong end, is going to find an escape, but that is 2 deaths for Joybaj. Cloud9 up by 2, and this is going to set up another objective.
Ooh. Shiro.
Yeah, he tried to go in, tried to find the quad shadow to get in there for the steal, but was not. Best player very quick on the draw with that retribution battle.
Yeah, and Cyree 2v1 matchup, circling Eagle.
Oh, he uses that entropy, and I think he used the flicker as well to get himself out there. Joybaj comes in. Nats on the side of the tower here. He's super tanky already at the 5-minute mark to where he's able to take on a huge amount of damage. A 2K gold lead for the side of Cloud9, and they are already all over Godspeed's jungle.
Yeah, looking to take some turrets now. Proxy in the lane on the top side in position, but a 3v4 may be on the way.
Shadow kill goes in onto the 4 members. They're going to go ahead and back off. That does save the tower. So a good play there by Shiro to come in with the quad shadow. Knew he wasn't going to be able to get the kill, but he was going to be able to clear out those minions.
Yeah, Clock of Destiny picked up by Marcutie, slowly starting to rev up. He's already got a kill on the board as well to work in his favor. You're looking at that War Axe picked up over there by best player. Dominant Ice over there from NAS as well. Now the Siege on the top side.
Yeah, 4 members of Godspeed here looking to try to defend it as the circling eagle comes out. Cold World with the last kill, or the last hit on to the tower. Split by Nats to go ahead and secure. Oh, a little bit of a conceal here. I don't think Divine's going to be able to find a target, but already starting with the macro. 1 tower down, a buff down. Shiro with the shadow kill. Best player finds himself a kill.
Not really worth it. The Ouija Shadow kill and the Quad Shadow forced out, not really dealing any damage to best player as well. Just shows you how far ahead Cloud9 is. I mean, Shiro's only level 9. Best player is level 11 and also has 2 kills on the board. Highest kills in the game, and now possibly going to go in for this 3rd turtle. Cloud9 has been able to find every objective so far. Godspeed yet to find the opportunity they've been looking for and zoned out of the turtle pit.
And that is just kind of result of this Cloud9, and I want to say this objective focused play style that they have kind of like just been brought to life with coming in with that quad shadow. Shiro, not only was the quad shadow kind of useless, ooh, Mark Beauty actually a little bit in trouble. That was a lot of CC. The demonic force comes down, is able to find the first kill, putting Godspeed on the board. But like I was saying, with the shadow kill out there, you knew it wasn't going to do enough damage to best player. But not only did you use the shadow kill instead of using the quad shadows to get away, but also without your jungler, you set up your team to have another turtle taken from them. Oh, and Restart in trouble here, gets taken down by best player as they continue their winning ways through the enemy jungle. Demonic Force coming in here, might be in trouble, but Nats finds the killing blow, taking down Divine.
Just as Divine throws the hammer down and finds a kill on the Marcuti. Cloud9 able to turn it back around on their side on the 2v1 trade. Basic will be able to open up the map in Cloud9's favor, taking a tier 3 on the bot side. A tier 3 on the top has fallen as well. Godspeed only able to take a tier 3 on the bot side to match up in the map. Right now it's bleeding blue. Cloud9, they're on fire right now. They have the answers. Godspeed still kind of similar to game number 1. A little bit behind when it comes to these objectives and focusing on trying to get these dives and these pickoffs. Even their aggressive dive composition is working in Cloud9's favor as they're the one winning these trades.
Well, and here's the thing. The highest leveled player on the side of Godspeed is still 3 levels behind best player. That's the highest level player on Godspeed. That's just, I mean, the gold might not be a huge gap right now, but when it comes to the player strength, especially when it comes to trying to engage around best player, you're not going to have a good time. And they're going to go ahead, start for this Lord, and I'm not sure there's anything that Godspeed can do to contest this.
Yeah, and I'm worried about Marcuti on the Sicilian, right? He has the Impure Rage, so he's going to have that extra skill damage and also mana on hit. Look at the Lord battle, though. Another zonage from Cloud9, forcing out Godspeed from the Lord pit. We'll be able to secure this objective. First Lord of the game going over to Cloud9.
Yeah, and amazing play there by Cloud9. Joy Bots goes into the back line. Are they going to be able to latch onto Mark Beauty, who flickers out of the CC? Bat's Feast is out. Divine in trouble, has the split, riding on top. And Mark Beauty finds a kill onto Divine. They were actually, I want to say Godspeed actually found themselves a kill onto Basic. So they is going to bring their score up to 2, but now they're starting this huge push through the mid lane, and I don't think they're going to be able to defend it.
Yeah, Cloud9 going to be able to take the last standing tier 3 turret. May be able to go in for a tier 2. You see the Lord marching on the top side. A massive advantage, 6-2 on the scoreboard, up by 4,000 gold. Best player still spearheading the way on this alpha. 3-0-1. But speaking of both players,
he's trying his best with the quad shadows. Out comes the alpha charge, and I think that's it for Shiro. He is down, and I love that they knew to bring Cold World with them just in case he was able to use those quad shadows to get away, because you're going to be able to lock onto him with that circling eagle to be able to kind of punish him down. Now starting to put this force on to the bottom tower. Best player hacking away, and we are almost down to only high ground towers with the mid tower. Oh, does get on the restart. Passive has been activated. You can see all the CC coming down. Cold World finds a kill onto restart. Syri in trouble, is going to have to use that entropy to get himself back out of the battle. Divine takes a face full of damage. In comes a huge set from Joybaj, but the rest of the team is not able to capitalize. Shiro tried. He came in, but not able to do enough damage, and down goes Syri. It's just Shiro alone to defend against 5 members of Cloud9. He's gonna try to get down these minions if he can. He's actually doing a great job of defending because he focused on the minions solely.
May not be over. I wonder if they're gonna go in and still try and close it out. It is a 5v3 with minions.
Yeah, minions are out there. You can see Basic on the side, swinging away at the tower. That's going to be game 2, a decisive victory for Cloud9.
and a massive statement to jump into the playoffs. Cloud9 walking down the red carpet right now into GD Ico's kitchen. I wonder if GD Ico's prepping them a good victory meal, because right now they're headed toward the right direction. We need to see Godspeed have some answers and fast. They only have one more chance before they're knocked down to the lower bracket. Again, pulling out the heavy dive-centric composition, but matched with the defense from Cloud9, waiting for them to dive in, waiting for them to make a mistake, and capitalizing on it has been the story so far for this series.
Yeah, and this is, I just want to repeat that, there's only one more game for Godspeed to try to come back here. This is a regular best of 5, so we are not guaranteed 4 games like we were during the regular season. It's a regular best of 5. If Cloud9 are able to take this next game, they will be able to sweep Godspeed. As we take a look at some of the stats there, Joybaj 0-3, having a rough game. They just knew exactly how to exploit the Kufra, find the kills on him, especially in the early game, which set up some of these great objective picks.
Yeah, and objectives is what we kind of want to highlight, and where Godspeed is not really shining, right? It seems like Cloud9's able to take every single turtle, every single lord, and always able to take the first turrets. Not to mention, what's going on with Joybaj on first blood? He's got to relax a little bit, man. You know, just roll the shoulders back and play a little bit more passive. I feel like he's great at being aggressive, but Cloud9's not that team that you can initiate with and expect them to make a mistake that early in the game. For game number 3, we're going to have to see these things checked off from the side of Godspeed if they want to remain in the upper bracket for the NACT fall season. I mean, look at the KDA, 11-3-23, complete domination so far from Cloud9. Now, Godspeed, they've been focusing on some heavy dive-centric compositions, right? I don't know if that's the answer. Maybe they play for something that's a little bit more passive, maybe something that comes online a little bit toward that mid to late game, because this early game diving has been severely punished by Cloud9.
Yeah, and I want to say, too, that if you're wondering what Joybaj is doing or why he's so aggressive, it's because it was this strategy that was actually able to be super successful against BTK, at least partially, where they were able to find Zane and the team wasn't able to answer fast enough to save him. Here, Cloud9 is a different story. Every single time you think you have one of them caught out, they are moving as a team. Coldworld is always in position, even if you can't see him, to be able to come in there with the guiding winds, to be able to save his team members. And once it got to the point where best player was 2-3 levels over the enemy team, there was no more battles, no more fights that you were going to be winning for the side of Godspeed. And they didn't realize that until too late.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, different teams, different weaknesses and strengths, and this is not the same as BTK, but definitely something that BTK is probably watching and taking some notes on. Now, I will say for game number 3, I mean, we've seen Joybaj in previous matches, at least in the regular season. He's ran heroes that are, I would say, not as dive-centric, right? We've seen him play more of that support role. We've seen him pull out things like the Mathilda. But, yeah, it's just right now the defense is really where Cloud9 is shining, right? Even though their offense is good. And I think that Godspeed's offense is great as well. But their defense for Cloud9 is just better than their offense. So I feel like maybe changing up the strategy and throwing them off their pace could be a game plan for number 3. But something I want to put a little bit of a highlight on is NACT so far, man. I've been very impressed with the answers to heroes that we would consider staple meta, right? We got to see him pull out against the Khalid, the CC. He was able to out-rotate, outshine, and get the job done. He executed perfectly. And then we get to see in game number 2 up against another XP laner that's been very dominant, the Phobius. He pulls out the glue, and he does the same exact thing. Now, that's something that also Godspeed has to find an answer for. What do you do with Nats?
Well, and I'm actually at a loss for what you do against Nats besides being as good as him. We've even seen Chicken struggle. It's not just the player that is having the good time with how skilled he is, it's the picks that he can put out there. Where we see when you have an R-Lot, when he's on the R-Lot, it's even worse because there's not really many counters to the R-Lot except for maybe the Phobius, or not the Phobius, the Khalid to come out there. But we've already seen that Cloud Cloud9 can bait out that pick, can have the Khalid out there and still be able to face it, still be able to punish it with a decent composition. It's just well that he's able to get these great rotations. We've seen all throughout the season, it's not just the rotations, it's the angles that he's able to come in with as well to find these great sets onto the enemy team. But we're gonna see if Godspeed has a plan here in what could possibly be the last game of this first series. Bane, Soyu, and Ruby taken off the board for Cloud9. On the side of Godspeed, we see Chip, Phoveus, and Fanny taken off. They really just do not want to see best player on that Fanny.
And we kind of mentioned this with that Fanny, with these bans, right? You're limiting yourself on what other options you could ban out. And this is why it's really effective to have a hero, especially a jungler that has such a deep hero pool, because you open up a lot of opportunity across the board for your entire team. There goes Gatat picked up again. It could be flexed into the XP, flexed into the roam. So far, we've been seeing it in the roam, at least for today. And it's been working. So we'll have to see what the response is over there by the side of Godspeed. There's still a lot on the table, though. You have Jungle Prio. You could pick up the Ling right here if you really wanted to. You have Marksman Prio. Even though the Ruby's been banned out, there's picks such as the Harith, such as the Claude, such as the Natan, all of them effective. You could pick up something like the Valentina if you really wanted to put some draft pressure up against Cloud9 being second in this phase. Just a lot of windows for opportunity for the side of Godspeed to turn this around, and there goes that Valentina we've been looking for.
Yeah, the one thing though is the drafting is kind of on par right now, because I'm trying to think here is like, what would I try to think to do here is I'd try to maybe go for an early something aggressive, but we saw that in the first game. They went against Cloud9 went against a very aggressive early game composition from the side of Godspeed, and they picked up that the Gatakacha to be able to withstand that. He's tanky, he's able to dish back out that damage to the enemy, and then you put on the healing spell on him, and he's going to be able to even, I want to say, pull in what some of Godspeed thought was a sure kill. Even with the early rotations from Divine, they weren't able, they actually lost themselves a first blood due to that engagement. So it's almost on the fence of what you can do. I do like the Valentina pickup here, because it means you're going to be able to make Cloud9 at least consider about some of the ults that they're going to be giving to her, some of the things that she might be able to answer back with. And we're going to see that Ling there for best player.
Yeah, you're going to see the Gatat. We mentioned it could be flexed into the XP lane. Usually it's been used as the roam, at least for this NACT fall season. But with this composition that we're seeing from Cloud9, it should be in the XP lane. Cold World is going to be pulling out a trick from Joybaj's book, right? He's going to be pulling out this Cho. We're going to see who has a little bit better of that footwork. Can't wait to see as we jump into the Land of Dawn. But for the side of Godspeed, they're going to pick up the alpha. It's like both sides is kind of pulling from each other for game number 3. Now, with this composition, we got the Khalid up against the Gatat. I feel like this could work a little bit better for Divine to get a little bit more comfortable in that lane. We kind of mentioned Nats and needing some answers, and I'm going to be keeping a close eye, especially being an XP laner myself, on what happens on that side of the map. But with this Valentina picked up so early, it does provide a couple of utilities that Godspeed can lean on. You have Cold World with the Way of the Dragon. You can use that for some single target CC. You can use the Avatar of the Guardian if you really want to. They are going to have to watch out, though, for this Ling, right? Heavy dive-oriented, also able to pretty much steal these neutral objectives, which Cloud9 has been on top of the entire series. And now throwing a Ling into the mix to be able to get up there with the Tempest of Blades for that invulnerability, that invincibility for a possibly retro steal is another component that's thrown into the mix that Godspeed will have to deal with.
It's not even just Ling. You're also going to have to worry about Cold World. And we saw against the match against BTK, Cold World able to come in, finds the way of the Dragon onto Zane as he's about to retry. So that put him out of commission. You see him trying so hard because he's CC'd down by Cold World. So that's going to be another answer in there that Shiro and the rest of Godspeed are going to need to be careful of, because we've seen Cold World be able to get in there with those Jikundos, get the Way of the Dragon that isolates out the jungler, and and makes it just too easy for best player to be able to come in there. And we'll see here with the rest of these picks where they're going to go, if they're going to be able to kind of hold it. What I see that they don't have just yet, we do have a little bit of backline dive, and we are going to be able to kind of have a little bit of that tankiness with the alpha, but what we don't have is something that's going to be able to answer best player if he decides to split push, if he decides to create that pressure in the side lanes. Do we have something that can get to that side lane quickly and be able to get back to the fight? Because you know that's exactly what Cloud9's plan is going to be here.
Well, we're seeing a little bit of some tricks coming out the sleeves from the side of Godspeed. I'm going to go ahead and throw out that Lunox. Should be inside of the gold lane. It's great in terms of survivability with the Brilliance, especially going up against the heavy dive-oriented composition from Cloud9. We've seen Cloud9 kind of mix it up, right? They were playing for more of a, I would say, mid to late game draft in game number 2 with a little bit of insurance. But this time, they're kind of being a little bit more risky, right? They're going to try and be aggressive early. And this is where I think Restart is going to shine, especially on this Lunox. It looks like Cyrie has swapped, though. This is going to be a Lunox in the mid lane, and it's going to be a Valentina in the gold.
I was about to say, I was actually kind of preferring the Valentina in the mid lane, because with the Grok, you're going to have such a fast clear speed, and with how fast that Valentina scales, that means you're going to have some great pressure with that duo rotating to the top and to the bottom lane. But we'll see how well this works out in the mid lane, having the Lunox. I haven't seen too much of it. She's got a decent amount of clear in that mid lane. For me, it's the amount of pressure and how fast we're going to be able to get to those lanes that will be the winning strat here in the early game, at least for Godspeed.
Yeah, and Basic going to pull out this 1-1. We don't get to see 1-1 too often. It has made a couple of appearances this NACT fall season. Actually, I believe Basic was the one that actually... No, Zia might have pulled it out once. But this is going to be good if you can get the crossbow of Tang out. But it is a counter on the board, though. With Restart running on this Lunox, you can still proc that Brilliance and pretty much negate the damage that comes out from the crossbow of Tang if he times it right. You mentioned Joy Boss on this Grok. We know he's been super aggressive. We've seen him on the Cho. We've seen him on the Kufra. And this time, can he get it done with the Grok?
Yeah, we're going to see here, ladies and gentlemen, Godspeed fighting for their survival in the upper bracket of the playoffs. Cloud9 looking to continue the reign here with a full sweep of their opponents.
Hey, the higher you climb up that ladder for the NACT fall season, the colder it gets. And I hope both sides brought some jackets. Godspeed, this is their chance to take this series and turn it back around. If Cloud9 finds victory here, they'll close it out with a clean sweep and knock them down to the lower bracket. Maybe that's the strat. Maybe that's what Godspeed's going for, but we know these teams are all fighting at a high caliber.
Oh, already expending that flicker is Restart. Best player in a little bit of trouble. Shiro coming up from the side, has the alpha charge. Tempest of Blades is out, trying to put the damage out. Shiro finding that space between him and Best player, who narrowly was able almost to find a kill. Luckily, no team took a death just yet, but we were already talking about those early rotations coming from the side of Godspeed. Joybaj takes a bit of damage from Basic, who is not worried for his lane just yet.
Yeah, not worried at all. Now, we mentioned Cloud9's composition. It's a little different than what we've seen in game number 1 and game number 2. This time around, they have a very early game priority, right? They're going to focus on trying to get these aggressive kills. We got to see him play a little bit more passive in game number 1 and 2. Maybe Godspeed, this is what they're looking for, to be able to change up their strategy and find an advantage.
Oh, excuse me, I didn't even realize it's Nats on the Cho here, so it's not going to be Cold World, but I think Nats is going to be just as lethal on that Cho. You can see here right now 3 members of Godspeed trying to chase down Cold World, but I mean, we talked about it. Gatakacha is so tanky, so resilient in a lot of these fights. Joybaj putting the damage on the Mark Cutie. Is it going to be enough? Divine looking for an angle here. Shiro here, while Best player perched up, looking for an angle to come in. Shiro finds the first turtle. So good start for the side of Godspeed. No deaths just yet, and finding themselves an objective.
Yeah, able to find something to work in their favor, and that's what we've been looking for. Hopefully they can keep that momentum in their favor. Best player, he didn't even go in for that objective. He did have his Tempest of Blades as well.
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to, with them not taking this first turtle, he's trying to punish Godspeed by going in. He's already taken 3 minions from Godspeed in his jungle right now. Do have the Avatar of the Guardian used by Cold World defensively to get himself out of that fight. Now it's Godspeed looking for the invade onto that. Basic's gonna back up all the way to his tier 2 tower as Cold World coming in, trying to put the pressure on. They're not gonna be able to get this tower just yet. Ooh, Nats goes in, finds the way of the dragon. A big pop-up by them. Joybaj finds a kill onto Mark Cutie. It is chaos in the jungle right now. Tempest of Blades is our best player with a hair of health, able to find an escape with that Tempest of Blades.
Beautiful start for Godspeed. Even though they don't have the dive-oriented composition, their team shines when it comes to team fights, as you see them all grouping together, and they're doing just that, outscaling and outbeating Cloud9 when it comes to the 5v5 engagements. As we are seeing some of the items on the board, both teams trying to get to these core items ahead of the others. It's only a 1 kill difference though, but a turtle onto the side of Godspeed to kind of help them toward their core items. So far though, I feel like Godspeed's doing a really great job of putting on that early game pressure.
Oh, Mark Cutie able to squeeze his way through. Avatar of the Guardian comes out and Mark Cutie goes down. That was an IMU Avatar of the Guardian. Now the rest of Cloud9 looking to make them punished. Basic finds a kill with that crossbow of Tang, and down goes Cold World. 1-3 in favor of Godspeed, who have found new life in this game 3. Nats comes in looking for the way of the dragon. The team is powerless to help. Tempest of Blades is out.
Whoa.
Best player finds the kill onto Shiro.
Whoa.
Then another onto Joybaj. Divine looking to try to get an escape here. Is not able to find his tower. That is a triple for best player.
And that is something you can't pick up overnight. The synergy to be able to turn that back around from Cloud9, starting with the setup with the Way of the Dragon from Nats to go ahead and catch up on Cyree. And then best player rushing in with the Tempest of Blades to take him down. Not only able to take the turtle, but take 3 kills on top of that. Now taking advantage of the scoreboard, leading the way 5-3, and may be able to take a turret on top of that. You see in both tier 3s on the top side and the bot side, down to about 15% HP.
Yeah, it's just crazy how Nats is able to find the angle, get in, find the Way of the Dragon onto Shiro, shuts him down. Oh, Mark Cutie actually finds himself on the wrong end of an IMU Avatar of the Guardian. Speaking of Shiro here, looking to create some distance here, putting the damage onto Nats there. Oh, best player perched up with that Finch pose, decides against going in.
I'm just looking at Joybaj's camera right now. Even though his team is slightly behind, that man has the biggest smile out of any player this NACT fall season. You can tell he's confident. You can tell he's having a blast.
Ooh, Shiro actually finds Nats. Are they going to be able to find a kill? He does. Tempest of Blades is out, though. Shiro in trouble here, connecting his swords. Best player finds another kill on his belt. 4-0 right now.
Highest kills in the game, possibly more in climbing. Godspeed need to be careful. They're not too far behind in kills, though. 5-6 so far.
Ooh, we have a gig engagement here. Restart finds a kill on to Mark Cutie. They really are able to punish Mark Cutie right now. Crossbow of Tang, Basic finds a kill on to Joybaj. He's able to find these crossbow of Tangs very early and find kills, especially for a hero like Wanwan, who takes some time, takes some items to actually come online.
Yeah, and you know, that's definitely going to kind of foreshadow what we'll be expecting toward that mid to late game if he's already able to find those weakness points this early on within that 17-minute mark. But right now, able to take another turtle under their belt, 2 turtles to 1 up against Godspeed, working in Cloud9's favor, and now on the board, leading by 4,000 kills. Hawk's Claws, Berserker's Fury, picked up by best player for some sustainability, for some crit damage as well. Looking on the other side, though, when it comes to the ADCs, 4,000 gold for Restart, for Cyree, which is the Valentina in the gold lane, 3,800 gold, which is very short compared to Basic at the 5,800.
Ooh, and we're already at the point where Godspeed is just replying to the pushing potential coming out from Cloud9. Another Way of the Dragon latches on, finds a kill onto Divine. Syri looking for an escape. Look at the dive coming from Best Player. Avatar the Guardian comes in as well. Basic finds a kill onto 2 members. That is 4 down for the side of Godspeed. It's just Shiro alone against 4 members of Cloud9, and they make easy pickings of him.
Easy pickings, clean up on aisle 9. Cloud9 able to find 4 members of Godspeed. Now should be able to take the tier 2 in the mid lane as well. They already took the tier 2 on the top side. We just gotta kind of put some highlight on the best player right now, right? On this Ling. He's been very effective. It's been a while since we've seen a Ling kind of get a lot of kills, especially in the early game. We're only 8 minutes in, and he's officially put up that bridge to be able to make that advantage.
Yeah, and I want to say it's due in part to the setting that's coming out from Nats and Cold World. You have Nats comes in, finds a Way of the Dragon. Cold World immediately tunes up the band for that Avatar the Guardian. Meanwhile, you have the Tempest of Blades from Best Player. It's like they're living in the same house or something and know each other's moves and how they're supposed to be synergizing with this. It is unmistakable for some of these engagements. They're making the most use of this Cho to isolate that one member. There goes Naps, another Avatar the Guardian. You see, Avatar the Guardian comes out. Are we going to have a Tempest of Blades coming in here as well? They don't even need it, as Basic's going to be able to clean up the job. Godspeed running for the hills. Are going to be able to make it to their tower. In comes Joy Boss with a wild charge. They turn it around, looking to put the damage on Mark Hughes. He still finds a kill. Best Player finds one. Tempest of Blades is out. Makes short work of Restart, and that is a complete team wipe for Godspeed, and quite possibly the final push.
Oh yeah, that's for sure game. I mean, Shiro, he's back in now. He has to clear out these minions. He may actually be able to do it, but he has to clear them down.
Oh, they're going to go ahead and CC him down. He does have the crown to be able to negate some of that damage, but he goes down very quickly. Top high ground is down. Now you can see Best Player try to put some damage onto that bottom one. Does not have the minion strength to do it. And Godspeed have a momentary reprieve.
Yeah, they're able to kind of push them back for who knows how long, though, because Cloud9 is in a very good stance to be able to get another early finish. We got to see them have an 11-minute finish for game number 1, but it looks like they're trying to beat that record.
Ooh, we do have Tempest Blades coming out. It still finds the kill onto Restart in front of 2 of their members. Syri next on the chopping block. He has the taste for blood. Run for the hills. Godspeed backed up into their tower, their last high ground tower as well. Minions forcing their way in. As you can see, the flank coming from Cloud9. Divine in trouble. Shiro using that alpha charge. Is it going to be enough? Basic finds a kill onto Shiro. This might be it. Divine gonna get that healing from his first ability. Minions are now at the core. We do have the brilliance coming out, but it's not enough to save Restart from Nats. And ladies and gentlemen, a clean sweep for a dominant Cloud9.
Look at that, just in time for dinner. I think G the Ico just finished the steak for Cloud9. As you see a lot of high fives. Look at Basic waving their banner. A flawless series leading the way. The first series in the playoffs, a 3-0 sweep against Godspeed.
Yeah, and quite a dominant one. Even with, I want to say, Godspeed had such a great early game. All it took was them to just get synced up, Nats to go in, find the Way of the Dragon. Then you had Way of the Dragon, Avatar of the Guardian, and then Ling. Best Player would come in with that Tempest of Blades and clean up shop. It was such a great combo for the side of C9.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody got MVP, it definitely had to be Best Player. Even when it was a 1v3 situation, he was able to get the pick off, able to go back to safety. But overall, the synergy from Cloud9 has definitely been shining as we progress through the playoffs. And especially in the regular season, we got to see their showcasing of their synergy. And even with the new addition on the roster, it's been proven to be very effective. A dangerous team that you cannot take lightly. Now, with this victory, right? They have now secured a spot moving on forward into the upper brackets. Godspeed will be the first team to drop down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, an unfortunate position to be pitted in. Godspeed tried every single thing that has been successful for them, and it just kind of shows the communication and how well prepared Cloud9 was for this matchup. As we take a look at the stats here, 22-7, 50% of those kills on best player alone, as we take a look at some of these highlights.
Yeah, definitely full of excitement and showcasing that Cloud9 is ready to hold that flag for North America as one of the top contenders in the playoffs. Definitely has a lot of crowd favorites alongside them. Now, Godspeed, there was a lot that I would say went right with them, but more that just went right with Cloud9. Hopefully, as we scale through this playoffs, we see a different story from them in the lower bracket. Cloud9, though, they have yet to really have too many mistakes. They've only taken one loss this entire NACT fall season, not a series loss, just a single game loss, and that was up against BTK.
Yeah, and I want to say, even some of the things I noticed from Cloud9 in some of the early series where you had best player not really joining in a lot of the objective fights in the early game, or trying to split push, even that has kind of subsided with a lot of these picks in this series, where he's joining a lot of these fights, and he's actually making a huge difference in these fights. You saw here, basic on a Wanwan in the opening minutes, still able to get that crossbow attack and find a kill, where Wanwan isn't really too strong.
You know, there's so many highlights when it comes to Cloud9. When it comes to Godspeed, though, there's some that I do want to point out as well. We got to see some great setups from the Kufra on Joy Bosch, but we also got to see some good setups from him on this Grok. He ran back, got the flicker play backward into Cloud9 for a setup, and it was effective, but it caused a full wipeout. But that's enough excitement for that series. We got to figure out what our host thinks about it.
Well, I just gotta say, it seems like without Mobazane on the other side, Joybot is losing a little bit of his grip. His one goal last week was to take down Mobazane, and it helped them secure 2 games. But today, for Cloud9, they do secure that victory, and that makes Cloud9 the one team that's only lost 1 game this entire tournament.
Yeah, definitely been very effective. They've been the heavy hitters. They've been that #1 seat that everybody's been trying to dethrone this entire NACT, and no team has been able to do that. Only a slight dent, and that was from BTK taking a single win but losing 3-1.
Well, and you brought up how he was able to kind of, Joybaj was able to kind of really focus down Mobazane last week. I want to say he tried in this one. You saw there were plenty of opportunities. He latched on to best player, but always Cold World was right there to provide the support to be able to find the escapes there. So quite the difference of what they were facing from this week and last week too.
Yeah, like you guys mentioned, it's different playstyle for different teams, and it looks like Joybot knows his father, Mobazane, very well, and it's just not the same strategy when it comes to Cloud9. But in the end of the day, it's still, no one's getting eliminated today. Fortunately for us, we don't have to witness the goodbyes with the players, but we do have an interview with Cloud9, and today we have Whole World joining us. Hi, Cold World. I know one particular person in the chat will be very happy to see you. How are you guys feeling now that you are officially in the grand finals in the upper bracket right now?
Feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw you pull out a lot of different roams this season, and just now you had the Gatakacha. Is there one hero that you feel like is your strongest or your favorite hero right now?
Yeah, Fanny.
Okay. Well, we hope to see you on a roam Fanny in the upcoming weeks. Now, with Cloud9, you guys are so dominant for this entire season so far. If you were to describe Cloud9's playstyle to someone, what is one word you would use to describe yourself?
Slow. We like to play slow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's really helped you guys kind of especially get the hang in the late game. And you guys have looked so solid this entire season. What are you still working on to improve with the team?
Definitely synergy, because we're still a new team. This team, yeah, we acquired like 2 new players like 2 weeks before NACT, so we're still trying to work on the synergy. That's it. And teaching Carlos how to
synergy is already so good. How successful has that been, teaching Carlos?
Good. He can understand us. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say a percentage of how much he understands you guys?
50%. Game related. Yeah, game related.
Wow.
He understands half of it.
Are there any new words that you taught Carlos over the past week?
Yeah, but it's not for public.
Yeah, I think we're just trying to poke into the lifestyle you guys have been having in the boot camp. What can you describe to us a day in the life in the Cloud9 boot camp? Like, what time do you guys wake up, and what does the day look like for you guys?
We wake up pretty early. We go on runs, play basketball, and then we play ML, and then we cook steak. That's it.
And what is early for you guys? What time?
Early, like 12 or 4 p.m. Depends. It depends.
That's pretty good. And what time do you guys start playing ML?
Whenever, like 8 p.m. It's usually go time.
Wait, so you guys wake up at 12, and then the whole day goes by, and then you start playing ML at 8 p.m.
Yeah, it's we have a lot of stuff to do.
Okay, it makes sense. And for you, I know that you are still in university, right? So how are you balancing school and right now your life as a pro player?
I just study whenever I get the chance to, and then yeah, we don't really play that much ML out here, so yeah.
Are you taking classes right now, or because you're living in the boot camp,
classes.
right?
I'm taking classes.
Online classes?
Yeah. No, for now, yeah. For now.
All right. Well, you guys did great this week, and we look forward to see how strong you guys are next week. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, a lot of questions that I wanted to know about the bootcamp life, but I cannot believe they wake up so early just to have the day go by and not play that much ML. That's not what I expected with a bootcamp life.
Man, I'll tell you what, they decided to start playing basketball and eating steak as soon as I moved out of Missouri to Florida. I would have been on that basketball court wreaking havoc, man. I'm talking about I would have got a sweep on Cloud9 by myself. But no, I love to see it. Definitely having the boot camp has been very effective. You can tell they're super enthusiastic, and hopefully they can go the distance as they progress through the playoffs. But so far, today has been a major victory for them.
Did I mishear? Did he say he wakes up at 12?
Yes.
Is that early for people? Because when they said early, I'm thinking maybe like 7, 8 o'clock, maybe earlier than that. They're like noon. Sun's been up there. But
I mean,
man,
we know,
great interview there with a great group of guys.
You know what it is, a schedule for a pro player. So it's different from the normal. We cannot compete. And Cold World is, in fact, the MVP of this series.
Yeah, well deserved. I would say a lot of times the roamer just doesn't give the credit when it's due, but this is a time where you can kind of pay homage to it, right? He's been very effective the entire series. The team overall, though, has just been a very great collective unit, even from best player on that on these assassins to Nats on the XP lane, able to kind of outshine and find the counters. And then also the matchup in the mid lane has all overall just been very effective, and too many teams, they have a hard time. Right when you think you find an answer for something, they throw another problem at you.
Yeah, and when it comes to roaming, he has been doing such a great job. Now people are starting to talk to him in the same vein as people like Shark, some of the top in North America right now. When it comes to everything like setting potential, being able to rescue best player when he does find himself in a bad way in enemy territory, getting these great sets, being there to defend during some of these objectives as well. Every single one of those things he has been excelling at in this position.
Yeah, and Cloud9 has really taken us by surprise this entire season. I mean, Cold World's synergy with Marcuti has been great this entire season, and every interview I feel like all the players seem very humble and they're very truthful with their answers. So they're looking like a very solid constructed team that's a havoc to reckon with.
Yeah, they've definitely been a problem, and these teams need to find an answer and find them soon, as we are now in the playoffs, which means it's no more point system, right? It's either you win in a best of 5 and you progress on forward, or you get dropped down to the lower bracket for one more shot in a best of 3, as we look at the player format on the board.
Yeah, you can see there Godspeed will be moving down to the losers round, and Cloud9 moving forward into the semi-finals. They will be facing the winner of the BTK versus Nighthorde match later tonight. So, I mean, an amazing match, amazing series, and an amazing team. And like we've said, they've only gotten better. We're seeing less and less holes for them, less and less issues with synergy, or maybe not being there for each other. They're still working on it, and they still are working on synergy. So, I mean, that just tells you how much better they are getting and how much more room to grow they still have.
And I like the word that Whole World used to describe their team. They're playing very slow. And you can really see how they're slowly gaining momentum every single game and slowly clinching that victory with very solid plays throughout the entire series. And, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at a short break, and we will be back with you guys for the next series, BTK versus Ghost Nighthorde.
Master this bush control will win your team the game.
Hey guys, it's Liz here, and welcome back to another episode of Strategy Dissect. Today, I want to show you another important tip that can change how your team plays MLBB. I call it the Lord winning bush, and we all know what Lord means in MLBB. I mean, hopefully. Directly speaking, it's the mid bush close to the Lord side. Around 9 minutes into the first game between C9 and BTK, Lord spawned on the top side. Notice how Shark was able to walk into the Lord winning bush initially with Hoon's help, but he quickly wandered away a few seconds after Valentina walked inside of the bush. This effectively gave up the Lord side of the map control to C9, which resulted in C9 taking the Lord without much pressure. Now let's go back a few seconds. If Shark had coordinated engage with Hoon onto Valentina, they could have landed a devastating blow onto the opposition mid laner, wasting Marcuti's ultimate or Purify or both, while maintaining pressure on Lord's side to buy time for his team. And now let's take a look at a different example. Around 9 minutes into game 2, BTK effectively gained control over the Lord winning bush this time. Because of that, Cloud9 had to make a huge detour just to safely arrive at the same destination. This brought BTK valuable time to quickly burst the Lord down and want control over the game. How about let's test this theory on the world stage? 9 minutes into game 2 of Fnatic Onyx PH versus Falcons AP Bren, you can see a constant juggle of mid Lord winning bush control. Eventually, Onyx PH was able to capitalize on Fuse's missteps and gain back the control over the Lord winning bush. And what follows is a beautiful execution of Onyx style Lord fight to snowball the game. Hopefully this is all helpful. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn that bell on. We will see you on the next episode of Strategy Dissect.
So right here, me and Hun just tried to go back, but we got popped a lot. And we tried to clean mid, and for some reason, Chao tried to get MOBA, and I canceled the Chao kick. So right here, we don't have any skill. So we tried to defend Nolan blue. But for some reason, the Lucy tried to kill Nolan behind, but he missed, as you can see. And right here, we know we're gonna win, because the Tyrael have all. And look at me. 2-man all. They cannot do anything. And look at Nolan. He think that Lucy is Nicolette or something, so he can one-shot her. But that's Mercury, so that's the whole different story, I guess. Unlucky. So right here, they did a good play with Mercury. He buy a lot of time for his team, so carry can boost top free goal. We waste a lot of time for him. That's a good play for Mercury. And right here, nothing happened. Yeah. We let the top wave come to our bay. That's fast, and we don't have any clear, you know. We need the one to clear the top. And we tried to send Antula to make the Nolan, but we forgot that the Antula. So, but next time, I think the 4v should go there to match in the Nolan next time. Yeah. And Antula just come to team fight with us. 4v just stay with Nolan, 1v1. So the Nolan cannot split anymore. So it's better for us. Remember to watch us the game BTK this weekend. We lost the first day, but it's not the playoff, so don't worry. We will come back stronger. So make sure to watch BTK this weekend. See ya.
Hi guys, I'm C9 Yellow, part-time content creator, full-time fry bagger, back again to react to another video. This time it's C9 versus BTK. Woo! Oh, nice kick. Oh my god, an even better cancel from Mr. Shark. Oh my, dude, that was frame perfect. Jesus. Oh, teleportation. Mars outside the bush. Wait, what the? They saw him. Mar, you're criminal. Oh, nice swipe. Oh, he went in. Oh my god, he's gonna get stunned. Zio with the prio, basic clearing mid. Need that extra gold. Oh, 1v1? No, dude, just dash out. Another 1v1. Ooh, fade away. One more. One more shield. Try again. Alright, he's down, he's down. What went right for BTK was for sure Shark's cancellation. I mean, that was just perfect. If not for that, Zane would be dead, the buff would be down, maybe even transition to gold. I think what went wrong for Cloud9 was the fact that Mar was outside the bush when they teleported. So they saw them teleport, they were ready for it. Also maybe the fact that maybe the mage shouldn't be TPing that deep, maybe just the R-Lot go in, so they could all come in different directions next time. And then Basic was also split pushing instead of helping out, maybe like just throw in a slow, just be scary. Alright, looking at the game state, C9 doesn't really have much of a choice right now but to clear waves. They do have strong wave clear with the Lilia and the Beatrix rockets, and the Nolan on the split push. But in this clip, I think Fovia should just be coming up to clear because he's not needed on the siege anyway. His team is strong enough to push for sure with the 1-1 and the Angela. They're strong enough to get the 2 towers here, I think, without Chicken. I mean, he even killed himself here and they still got 2 towers. I think he should have just been there to match the Nolan for sure. Split pushing is definitely like a valid strategy in this meta because there's a lot of quick assassins, like Nolan. Like, he has unlimited dashes for as long as he has energy. And it's also the fact that it's Cloud9 and they have like a 50% split push buff from basic. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching another video by me. I'm gonna go back to bagging some fries now. Oh, and shout out to Cloud9, shout out to Sir Rose, shout out to my mother, my aunt.
20 minutes later.
My brother, my half-sibling, my cousin twice removed, my grandfather. Shout out to my fellow fry bagger, Alexander. Shout out to my dentist, Daniel. Shout out to my doctor, Hector. Shout out to the person that took my Chick-fil-A order this morning. Her name was Sarah.
Jilted.
Alright, burst.
Do it. You see me?
Look to fight.
I'm looking. Ruby, whoop him.
Try push.
Ruby no hook.
Khalid.
Yo, slow. One target. Ruby, look.
Ruby.
See that?
Nice. Keep going.
Yeah.
0. I flicker in 3.
Go.
Alright, looking.
1.
Careful. Super low.
I didn't go. And Bowie.
Can you knock him up? Nice. Hey! Power? Yeah, it's over.
Goodbye.
Nice.
One
More game.
Hook! Nice one.
Shit.
I think I can chase him. I got him.
Wait, look at the flicker.
Low.
I stunned him. Nah, good shit. Yeah. Hold on. No, he dead. And a boy.
Oh, he died.
Just keep hitting
If he
tower.
jumps, I'll stun him. I'll stun him. It's running out.
Human
Running out.
stun. Okay. I block off it.
I'm tanking tower. Just end if you can.
And then. Okay, nice shot.
Nice, good shit.
At least we gave them 2 wins.
Yata.
Yo, dog one, tiga to na. Ay, damage! Abol. Yo, clock. Tara na. What the
Totalo po.
Ay, 5 go.
Wait, outside, good.
Ako muna. 5 man winter.
Wala lang ako. Ito ako.
Patay mo na natin, Tay. Patay mo natin, ha. Kill him.
GG.
Wait.
1, 2, 3.
Dito.
5, 4, 3,
1, go.
Do the countdown!
Tower. Go.
I can't walk up.
Here.
Mid.
GG, he dashed him, that dumbass.
GG.
No, nice. Endable.
It's endable.
Broke out.
Nice.
Dude,
Endable.
yeah.
Shit, you just one shit her. You just one shot her.
Nice, let's go, guys. Wait, so did we secure top 4?
Easy game.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, sir.
Easy game.
Yes, sir.
We're top 4?
Top 4.
Let's go.
Guaranteed.
Mid.
Fighting for no one would ever know your name. Who were you waiting for? No one would be there to save you. You would be alone when hope was gathering together with the sun. Even though your back's to the wall. One strike, go cut the monkey mind. Your blade swing one time. When clouds have cleared, sunlight can shine. One time, the fight is yours. Now fill with your sword. There's endless power once you start. Never lose your heart. Tonight is dark and the shadows are deep. Who can protect the world? A light of hope shines in the dark. One strike, I swear by people's side. Keep faith just one time. darkness plagues this world, unseen by mortal eyes. People prayed to the Immortal One to safeguard the sanctity of peace.
The ceremony's starting! It's Suyo! It's Suyo!
I bear this mask, for this duty is mine alone.
What is that? Is the ceremony over?
Mommy, I'm scared.
What is that?
Let's get out of here!
Let's get out of here! Let's get out of here!
In their hearts, fear festers into darkness. But deep within, there is hope to crush that fear. Through this mask, I see no fear.
Welcome to the land of God!
This pro player's Suyo tutorial will help you win your games. Hey guys, this is Liz with a special episode of Strategy Dissect. Today we're gonna deep dive into some great Suyo play in a competitive tournament to show you some of the best tips and tricks from the pro players. Get it? Suyo. First tip, take full advantage of Suyo's short skill cooldowns, or in best player's words,
Utilize his low CDs.
what this means is to frequently use Suyo skills to traverse around the map in and out of the battle. Here are a few common combos. First up is the travel combo, combining skill 1 and skill 3. This is frequently used when you need to travel around the map or terrain faster. You can also use skill 3 plus skill 1, whichever suits you better. Next up is the teamfight entrance combo. Use enhanced skill 1 plus enhanced skill 2 and save your skill 3 to execute or reposition. You will find this to be your most commonly used combo in a teamfight for the best crowd control and damage. In this clip, you can see that Mobile Zane was able to use this combo to shred the health bar of Bane while positioning himself back into the safe area for a second entry. Second tip is to be patient with close body fights. Suyo is quite squishy. We highly recommend you to take your time and wait for the team before diving in. In this example, Mobile Zane was securing the turtle for his team while spotting the entire opponent team ready for a Luoyi teleport play. So he dashed away to create distance first, patiently waiting for his team before diving back in with a full teamfight combo to clean up the battlefield. Maybe Zane should learn to do this more often. Last but not least, here is the build used by our pro players that you can also use to improve your Suyo gameplay. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends so we can see you next time.
This weekend, North America's top teams go head to head. Who will rise to the top? All eyes are on the title as only the strongest will survive. Don't miss the NACT 2024 Fall Playoffs. Stay tuned this weekend.
Hi guys, I'm C9 Mielo, part-time content creator, full-time fry bagger, back again to react to another video. This time it's C9 versus BTK. Woo! Oh, nice kick. Oh my god, an even better cancel from Mr. Shark. Oh my, dude, that was frame perfect. Jesus. Oh, teleportation. Mars outside the bush. Wait, what the? They saw him. Mar, you're criminal. Oh, nice swipe. Oh, he went in. Oh my god, he's gonna get stunned. Zio with the prio, basic clearing mid. Need that extra gold. Oh, 1v1? No, dude, just dash out. Another 1v1. Ooh, fade away. One more. One more shield. Try again. Alright, he's down, he's down. What went right for BTK was for sure Shark's cancellation. I mean, that was just perfect. If not for that, Zane would be dead, the buff would be down, maybe even transition to gold. I think what went wrong for Cloud9 was the fact that Mar was outside the bush when they teleported. So they saw them teleport, they were ready for it. Also maybe the fact that maybe the mage shouldn't be TPing that deep, maybe just the R-lot go in, so they could all come in different directions next time. And then Basic was also split pushing instead of helping out, maybe like just throw in a slow, just be scary. Alright, looking at the game state, C9 doesn't really have much of a choice right now but to clear waves. They do have strong wave clear with the Lilia and the Beatrix rockets, and the Nolan on the split push. But in this clip, I think Fovia should just be coming up to clear because he's not needed on the siege anyway. His team is strong enough to push for sure with the Wan and the Angela. They're strong enough to get the 2 towers here, I think, without Chicken. I mean, he even killed himself here and they still got 2 towers. I think he should have just been there to match the Nolan for sure. Split pushing is definitely like a valid strategy in this meta because there's a lot of quick assassins, like Nolan. Like, he has unlimited dashes for as long as he has energy. And it's also the fact that it's Cloud9 and they have like a 50% split push buff from basic. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching another video by me. I'm gonna go back to bagging some fries now. Oh, and shout out to Cloud9, shout out to Sir Rose, shout out to my mother, my aunt.
20 minutes later.
My brother, my half-sibling, my cousin twice removed, my grandfather. Shout out to my fellow fry bagger, Alexander. Shout out to my dentist, Daniel. Shout out to my doctor, Hector. Shout out to the person that took my Chick-fil-A order this morning. Her name was Sarah.
Chilled it.
Alright, burst.
Do it. You see me?
Wait, look to fight.
I am. I'm looking. Ruby, whoop him.
Try push.
Ruby, no hook.
Khalid.
Yo, slow. One target. Ruby.
Ruby.
See that?
Nice. Keep going?
Yeah.
Zero. I flicker in 3.
Go.
3, 2, 1. Careful. Super low.
I didn't go. Empowered.
Can you lock him up? Nice. Hey! Power? Yeah, it's over.
Goodbye.
Nice.
One more game. Hook! Nice one.
Hey.
I think I can chase him. I got him.
Wait, look at the flicker.
Low.
I stunned him. Nah, good shit. Yeah, hold on. No, he dead. And a boy.
Oh, he died.
Just
I'll
keep
stun
hitting
Cooper if he
towers.
jumps. I'll stun him.
Cooper.
It's running out.
Stun. Okay. I block off it.
I'm tanking tower. Just end if you can.
And then. Okay, nice shot.
Nice, good shit.
At least we gave them 2 wins.
Yo, dog one, tiga sana. Nice, damage! Abol. Yo, clock. Tara. What the f***? Totalo po. Ayun, 5
Wait, outside, good.
Ako muna. 5 man winter.
Wala lang ako. Ito ako.
Patay mo na natin, pre. Patay mo natin, ha.
Kill him. GG. One, two, three.
Dito.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Do the countdown!
Tower. Go!
walk
Right here.
Mid.
GG, he dashed him, that dumbass. GG. No, nice. Endable.
It's endable.
Broke out.
Nice.
GG,
Endable. Shit, you just one shit her. You just one shot her.
Good job. Nice, let's go, guys. Wait, so did we secure top 4?
Easy game.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, sir. Easy game.
Yes, sir. We're top 4?
Top 4.
Let's go.
Guaranteed.
Patayan na si Dia, tol. Okay, Lordable. Sinasaki.
Ano lang gawa, pre?
Hindi ako bala kay Tin. Ikaw na bala.
Mid.
Hindi pa na, pre. Pwede pa. Ito. Kaya nagmuntin.
Gusto.
Awan nga.
Paano game, pre? Oh my god. Buti may diwala kay Sign.
Mo. Hero. One.
Fighting for no one would ever know your name. Who are you waiting for? No one would be there to save you. You would be alone when hope was gathering together with the sun, even though your back's to the wall. One strike, go cut the monkey mind. Your blade swing one time. When clouds have cleared, sunlight can shine. One time, the fight is yours. Stop it with your sword. There's endless power once you start. Never lose your heart. Tonight is dark and the shadows are deep. Who can protect the world? A light of hope shines in the dark. One strike, I swear by people's side. Keep faith just one time. I'm gonna light up all the fires. One strike for my desire, a light up so bright. It's all the power in my heart. I'll defend the world.
A darkness plagues this world, unseen by mortal eyes. People prayed to the Immortal One to safeguard the sanctity of peace.
The ceremony started!
I bear this mask, for this duty is mine alone.
What is this? Is the ceremony over?
Mommy, I'm scared.
What is that?
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here.
In their hearts, fear festers into darkness. But deep within, there is hope to crush that fear. Through this mask, I see no fear.
All right, we are back to day one of the playoffs for the NACT 2024 Fall, the long-awaited rematch for both of these teams, Gosu Nighthorde versus BTK. Both of these teams want to get their revenge and want to prove themselves of their own glory. I'm your host Liz, joined alongside Private Dancer and Steph Weezy for today.
Glad to be back after a short break. We thought it was going to be an hour, but it's a little bit shorter than that. So, hey, here we are back again for our second series of the playoffs.
Yeah, thankfully, not as long as a break as we had initially thought. But I am ready, willing, and able to see both of these teams. Like we said, they've already faced once. We're going to see if they have something new in store for this next series.
Yeah, both of these teams waiting to get their revenge. On the top of the hour, we saw Cloud9 versus Godspeed. Cloud9 with a clean sweep against Godspeed. And now we're jumping into BTK versus Gosu Nighthorde to see if one of these teams can give us something special.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to be looking forward to seeing. Hopefully, we see this go the distance as we're now competing in a best of 5. No more 4 games in a row, no matter what the score is. There's a chance to sweep a team if you're lucky, we got to see Cloud9 do exactly that up against Godspeed. Now, BTK up against Gosu Nighthorde. We've seen them face off against each other, right? It was the first debut of week 1 of the regular season. It ended with a 4-0 in BTK's favor.
Yeah, BTK really set the standard there with that first game here, but a lot on the line for Nighthorde. They've made a lot of adjustments, trying to get people in, trying to find the right positionings for them, all for where it matters most, and that is here at the playoffs. And if anybody can pull out something new, I mean, there's a lot of history, especially with the names on both of these teams. Gosu originally being, I want to say, the M1 qualifier for North America, and everybody already knows BTK for that M3 position. So a lot of history between both of these teams and both of the names.
Yeah, and a lot of changes has come for the rosters for Gosu Nighthorde, and we're ready to see whether those changes will make the decisive change to the results for today. For Gosu Nighthorde today, we have Mikasa on the XP lane, Oh My Foe on the jungle, Legend in the mid lane, LC1 on the roam, and Dez on the gold lane. So some changes there. Dez is now into the gold lane, and we have Foe on the jungle.
Yeah, this is interesting, right? We've seen them kind of rotate their roster around a couple of times in the regular season, and now going to switch it up again. It seems like Yellow is not going to be in as the main 5 again, but going to be kind of back as a sub. Is this going to be the difference that kind of makes them shine, or will it be the difference that BTK can kind of climb on top of? I'm not really too big of a fan on roster changes, especially when it comes to the playoffs, but hopefully it gives them the benefit of the doubt. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. This just in. Little birdie just rang in our ears.
He teleported himself back into the roster.
Yellow is now back in the roster, live in effect. Let's see what he does.
Just now, we got the update, bringing it to you live, folks. Here, Yellow will be playing here in the roam position. Big things here for Dez. He's actually grown quite the following in North America as a streamer in North America, but not to be done by these fellow streamers.
Yeah, we have a full powerhouse of streamers right here. We have Foy Chitin on the XP lane, Mozane in the jungle, Hoon in the mid lane, Shark on roam, and Zia. This is the streamer squad.
The streamer squad, the double S in effect for BTK. Now, there's been a lot of fan favorites for BTK, right? This is what many would kind of mention the superstar team that North America has been looking for. So hopefully they can bring that competitive nature we're used to seeing when it comes to that BTK name for today's series up against their competitor Gosu Nighthorde.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and BTK has a lot of history behind the name. And in the last few weeks, I want to say, have had what some might call some disappointing results when it comes up to the matchups. But very lately, they have gone into the same house to get together, to build that synergy, to build that play style with them. And we're going to see how much that comes into play here in the next series.
Yeah, very important point here is that they have officially settled into a boot camp of their own very recently, and we are so excited to see how that plays out for their cameras as well. Like, how are they fitting in that one spot? But for the viewers, we do have a giveaway for you guys on the screen. Make sure you scan that code to get you inside of the game, like Weezy said, and type that code in for 40 tournament chests to unlock one of these.
Yeah, make sure you claim it while it's available. Like we mentioned, it's not region locked. It's first come, first serve. 40 up for grabs. Who will be able to claim it? Make sure you get one. It might actually be 39, as I think Liz might have taken one herself.
That's
Dang it, Liz. Very quick on the draw. And for those of you who might be watching this on your phone, fear not. There is a link in the description of the stream for you to go ahead and click on and enter that code yourself. Like we said, you got to be quick because there are only 39 slots left.
39 because Weezy already claimed it. Yeah, we're trying our best to make it as accessible as it is for you guys to claim one of these rewards, to make sure you're always tuning into the stream and unlocking these prizes. And for the next match, guys, BTK has a lot on the line. Both of these teams actually have a lot on the line. For BTK, it's more like last week. They really disappointed a lot of the fans with their performance, even though they secured that victory. However, for those United Horde, none of these teams want to be dropped down to the lower bracket. So I want to know what you guys feel about this matchup with your predictions. Everyone voted for BTK as expected.
Well, I mean, when it comes to numbers, when it comes to statistics, you know, that's half of our job as casters. The other half is just having fun. We got to see BTK go up against Ghost Unite Horde in their debut week 1, and honestly, with the gameplay, the skill gap was just too far for me to try and give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, I do hope that they scaled through the regular season. That's what the regular season is for, right? To work out those kinks, to iron them out, and to come back a little bit stronger. But it's up to them to change that narrative, and hopefully they can do exactly that today.
Yeah, here, the big thing for me is something that I harp on every single time we get to this point in the season, when teams take that formula that they've been going with, change it up. And here, I'm just, like Wheezy put it earlier, I'm just not a fan of kind of changing things around. You lose a little bit of synergy, and coming up against a BTK, a team like that, you're going to want all the tools, all the advantages you can take.
Well, the saying is don't change what's working, but the question is whether or not what they had before was working. So let's find out if the changes is what they need to clinch a game from BTK. Draft is ready. Take us to the draft.
That's right. If it's not broken, don't fix it. As we are seeing BTK go up against Night Horde for our second series of the day. It's going to be a lot that Night Horde has to kind of make up for from what we've seen, at least from their debut series up against BTK in week 1. And hopefully they've learned a couple of tricks that they can pull out in this series. I'm always a fan of seeing things go the distance, and hopefully today will be exactly that.
One thing that I want to say, Night Horde, maybe that you can put as a plus when changing up, is the changes weren't super drastic. Oh My Foe, already very familiar with the jungle role, has played it many times, especially for Night Horde and Dez. When it comes to moving from a jungle position to another position, Gold Lane isn't too far removed. They kind of have the same type of play styles. You're waiting to get farmed, although Gold Lane doesn't really a lot of those buffs. They have to wait until that farm, until those items to really become a part in of the game. So we'll see if it's one of those things that kind of can work in a benefit for them as we move on with the rest of the draft. And BTK, they're gonna go ahead and take a lot of those big skill and technical mechanical heroes like Fanny, Ling taken off there, and then as we've seen, Gatakacha has been playing a huge role for a lot of these teams, especially with that early game dominance.
Speaking of dominance, something we have to shed some light on too is the difference of BTK grouping up and actually camping this one out for the playoffs. It's going to be the first time we've actually seen them do a boot camp during the NACT to make it into the grand finals possibly. It just shows you how seriously the competition has risen from previous NACTs, and it's definitely something to be proud about. Now, you mentioned the attack, definitely being that both sides are going to have to look out for. Another threat that's on the table is that Khalid. We got to see a couple of answers from it with our first series, though. We got to see the CC put up against it, able to out-rotate it and kind of shine, and maybe that's something that Night Horde may be able to put against it. They do have Jungle Prio as well. Since they are second pick right now, they can pick up the Hayabusa is available, the Julian, so much, even though the Ling's been banned off the table. Even the Valentina here, again, to provide that draft pressure going forward.
Well, and I like the ban pick here. You take out the big counter for Khalid in the early game, and that's the big tankiness of the Gatakacha. But with that, an answer, Night Horde's going to go ahead and pick up the brand new mage coming out. And actually, they're picking up the I want to say the newest two heroes that came onto the roster here with Soyu and oh my god, help me out with the name because I'm gonna mess up. Zuxin. Whew. I almost started seeing smoke coming out my ears there. But that's going to be very interesting, and I'm very curious to see how well these two mold together. Especially with the new jungler here. You talked about it earlier. He only has 3 abilities, so he doesn't have that ultimate that he has to wait for. So he's going to come online and be, I want to say, he's going to come online a lot earlier than some of the other junglers, except for maybe Julian, where it looks like they're not matched up.
Yeah, it's going to be the first time I think we've seen both of the new heroes on the same side of the board as well, so we'll have to see how that synergy kind of builds. Now, we've seen the Suyu previously with Moba Zane running that in the jungle, and it was very effective. The Juicin, or Juicin, as you would say, it's so hard to know which way, because like I remember when we were in MSC, they told us Juicin, but then you hear other people say Juicin. Maybe you guys can let us know. Throw the pronunciation out there in the chats so we can figure that out. But it's going to be interesting seeing them both there, right? They can get online very early, very effective, and it's something that could put some pressure on to BTK going forward. Speaking of BTK, Zane is going to be picking up that Julian to run in the jungle.
Yeah, I want to say there's a lot of early game for the side of BTK, which is going to match well against what the Nighthorde has over here, especially with the mage side. I want to say, like, a lot of the CC that she can dish out, she doesn't really become too lethal until that mid and late game when she's able to kite, when she's able to lift your team up pretty much on cooldown. And so here what we see from BTK is a lot of early games. They're going to want to put a lot of pressure into that mid lane to make sure that she never does get the farm that they want.
Yeah, and speaking of farm, we got to figure out what the ADCs are. One taken off the table, Hera taken off the table. The Alice could be a potential threat to look out for either side. The Claude still available for the picking. What's different about this composition versus what we've been seeing at least all day today with the first series is it's not heavy dive eccentric, right? It's not really one side is just going to go in for the early game. I feel like there's answers for both sides to be able to take this first objectives and also play a little bit more passive. Now, the Khalid, we got to figure out, is this going to be an Edith put into the XP lane to go up against it, or are they still going to flex that into the roam position and possibly pick up something like the CC?
Well, that's a good point too, is you don't know where this Edith can go. On paper, even in the XP lane, it does well against the Khalid, because even the healing that he can do with his first ability, he gets knocked out of it if he gets popped up. So it could be a good counter for that, or like we said, it's good for when it comes to some of these flexible picks, which I want to say in the first draft, we didn't see too much fluidity with it. It was just outright, you know where these picks are going to be going. You have the assassin picks, you have the mage picks here. Here we have something a little bit more flexible from the side of Nighthorde to kind of hopefully keep BTK on their toes when it comes through this draft.
All right, I saw Zuxin, so we're gonna call it Zuxin. Zuxin, there we go. Zuxin is now in the building. Hey man, we got to get it right, okay? But as we are seeing some of the picks on the board, yeah, right there with you. I love seeing what's paired up against this Khalid, because I'm also adding to my notebook on possible counters to kind of work against that heavy threat that's been dominating so far. Now, we got to figure out what's going to happen in the ADC, right? Do you go more for magic? Do you pull out that Alice to be a threat? We've seen a Val put into the gold lane today, which is a little bit of a surprise. I thought it would have been the Lunox. There goes that Hylos, though. Debut Hylos for the playoffs. This is going to go over to the side of Night. Still kind of crazy how both of these heroes could be flexed. This could be Hylos in the XP lane, Edith inside of the roam. But what I'm probably going to expect is the Edith, maybe, yeah, going into the XP lane to go up against that Khalid, maybe a little bit easier to pull that off.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting it to be the Edith in the XP lane, and then Hylos to kind of bring in for a lot of these objectives that he can throw out that glorious pathway, charge into the enemy team, try to create some of that distance. It depends on how well he's going to be able to execute that with the rest of the Suyu. Really, I want to say he's kind of a question as to how well he can hold that objective when it comes. I want to say maybe a little bit better, especially when he has that kind of spirit form around him. He's got a little bit more defense than I believe you would have with the Julian would holding an objective.
Speaking of objectives, BTK getting creative for the first match of the second series. They're going to go ahead and pull out this Guinevere. We haven't really got to see this showcased in a while. This actually may be a debut Guinevere for the entire NACT fall season. It should be in the roam position for Shark, possibly going to use that spatial migration and some violent requiems for some AoE setups that BTK can kind of rely on.
Yeah, it absolutely is a debut of Gwen. This is the first time we see the NACT period around it in the roam position, and with that, an alpha pickup for the side of Nighthorde. So alpha going to be in the marksman lane, it looks like.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. An alpha in the marksman lane up against. Hey, we've seen a Valentina in the gold lane. Now we're going to see an alpha. I'm just going to stop guessing who's going to go where. Just let the players do that for us and see how effective it may be. Now, the only problem that I have with the alpha in the gold lane is I feel like it's great when it comes to team fights, I guess. But when it comes to pushing these turrets and pushing to close the game out, that's where I feel it'll be a little bit more of a challenge, considering you don't have your traditional marksman to kind of lean in on, especially going up against a player like Zia who thrives on the carry, who's definitely going to look to kind of chunk into the fighter and the tankier build. And there's 3 heroes that the Speedy Light Wheels can shred: the Alpha, the Hylos, and the Edith.
Yeah, that's the thing for me too, is when it comes to this composition, especially on the side of Nighthorde, we don't have the traditional, I want to say, marksman damage that we have, but we do still have kind of the auto attacks when it comes to Mikasa's going to be on this Edith, so when he goes into that Primal Wrath form, he is going to be able to kind of chunk down towers if he needs to, if that's needed for them with this and this damage. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going into game 1 of BTK taking on Gosu Nighthorde.
A massive game indeed, as this is going to determine who is setting the pace for this series. Whoever wins will be moving forward into the semifinals of the NACT Fall season. Whoever loses will be dropped down to the lower bracket to face up against Godspeed.
Oh, it looks like Dez is jungling. Oh my, taking some damage here. I'm so confused with the changes that went up around here. Oh my foe is looking like he's going to be on the roam position here right now. So a big mix-up here for where some of these players are going to be. Dez going to go ahead and keep up with the original role he started out with Gosu Nighthorde on the jungle there. So that should at least add a little bit of synergy for the team.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the Zeus in the gold lane.
Oh, and just like that, Mobazane comes in for the first blood. They're set up by the pop-up from Shark.
Yeah, a little unfortunate. Oh my foe out of position prior to the turtle spawning on the board. You know, this is just in from production as well. It appears Gosu Nighthorde, their plan, they have a new strategy that we don't really see too often. They're going to be switching roles pretty much every single game.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep BTK on their toes. Right now, though, I mean, it's 0-1. First blood did go over oh, and you miss. Mikasa just misses to try to find the pop-up there onto Flied Chicken. Meanwhile, Dez working on this turtle. Is he going to be able to find it? A great push out there. And Mobazane going to be able to find the first turtle. Mikasa in trouble, finds a pop-up there, and gets himself out of harm's way. Has the Primal Wrath. Is that going to be enough? Mobazane gets caught. Legend finds the kill. Fly Chicken able to answer back onto Dez with a kill of his own. And oh my foe finds the glorious pathway, but Shark is right there to find the pop-up and the Violet Requiem.
Yeah, oh my foe falling yet again. Just being a little too aggressive. He needs to kind of be careful. He definitely doesn't want to help BTK scale in the early game. Zane getting a little overly aggressive himself, trying to chase that kill. Leads to a death. Now going to be 3-1 on the board. BTK also having a turtle in their favor to give them a little bit of that boost in the economy.
Yeah, I mean, right now, 3-1, a little bit of a boost. I mean, it's honestly, I don't want to say it's a little bit. It's 1K in the early game, which really does speak a lot for how well BTK is doing right now. Pulling you can see them right now. They're trying to pre-game the invasion from BTK. They're already pulling that purple buff into the bush to try to hide it so that they don't have vision on. And you can see already, Mobazane here already working on the jungle of his opponents. Oh my foe dives in there after 2 of them. In comes a yellow Shark with the spatial migration, finds the pop-up onto Oh my foe. Hoon does miss with the freeze. The rest of Nighthorde looking for an escape. In it comes the Sandstorm from Fly Chicken, finds the kill onto Oh my foe, and a Legend, looks like he was creating the space, did have that ultimate out, but it was not enough.
They threw out a hook and Gosu Nighthorde grabbed it. BTK able to extend the lead now, 5-1. 2 kills on the board for Chicken on this Khalid. Highest kills in the game, but 5 assists going over to Hoon. He's had an assist for every single kill so far. Now a 2,000 gold lead. You are seeing the turtle spawn in as well. Both sides ready to take the battle, but who will be able to claim this objective?
Yeah, right now, ooh, Legend takes about 50% damage right there, and the turtle has been pulled out and reset. Shark getting a good front row seat here, looking for an angle, possibly for another spatial migration. You can see the rest of Night Horde going around the side. They're going to go in. Immediately, Mikasa takes a bunch of damage there. Out comes the CC. Oh My Foe is the first one to go down. Fly Chicken finds a kill onto Mikasa. Yellow is next at the hands of Moba Zane. This might almost be 4 down. Oh My Foe does find a kill onto Moba Zane, and just like that, Night Horde, even with 2 down, gain control of this turtle.
And now BTK has to find a trade. Look at the top side. We're looking at Zia quickly trying to burst down these minions. He's not very mobile, though. You're already seeing the 2-man rotation over there from Legend, from Oh My Foe, to defend on the top side. So overall, that's a 1 trade for the side of Gosu Night Horde. The gold difference is a little over 1,000 now, slowly closing that distance to try and equalize this economy. Oh My Foe, he was very aggressive in the early phase, but he has 2 kills now under his belt. He actually has the highest kills for Gosu Night Horde.
Yeah, and I want to say a great job by Night Horde. They took 2 deaths, but still the team was focused on the target that they wanted, and that was Moba Zane. Without Moba Zane, BTK was not going to be able to contest this turtle. They immediately had to flee, and Night Horde picked them up an objective here. Trying to even it out. It's still a 1K lead for BTK.
Yeah, I see the Impure Rage on Yellow BC as well. This is going to be that Zeuskin inside of the gold lane. We've seen it flex so many times this NACT fall season, but it's going to be pairing up against Zia on this carry, who definitely has a lot more range at his disposal, which is going to force him to play a little bit safer. You're going to see the golden staff picked up by Zia as well for some additional attack speed. Chicken on the 2v1 though, narrowly able to escape. But
He
Dez
read
and
that
Mikasa
quickly. Dez, as soon as Dez came in there, he was ready. Had the flicker out there. Even used his Raging Sandstorm to back out. Now you can see all the damage. Zia doing work up at top. That's the one thing that's probably going to be a big problem for Night Horde as we move into the mid game, as we start getting into the late game, because nobody has been able to stop Zia. They haven't been a threat up there, and he's just continually getting his items.
Yeah, able to get those items, trying to scale. You know how heavy a carry can hit in the late game. Right now, already having the golden staff at his disposal for some additional attack speed. We are seeing another turtle spawn on the table. This is the 3rd turtle of this game. The second one went to Night Horde. The first one over to BTK, who will be able to take the 3rd.
Oh, from the back line, they're going to go ahead and engage onto Night Horde. You can see if Moba Zane able to find the turtle as well. Now he's going to join the fight. Dez is in trouble behind Fly Chicken and Moba Zane. They do find a kill there. Hoon picks that up. Shark uses the spatial migration to escape. The rest of Night Horde, and Moba Zane dives in, finds himself a kill onto Oh My Foe. Now sitting at 3, 2, and 4.
A major victory for BTK, not only able to take a turtle, but also able to take 3 members down from Gosu Night Horde and a tier 3 turret on the bot side and the top side. Right now, they're finding all the answers. Gosu Night Horde slowly digging themselves into a hole they may not be able to climb out of. They need to find a trade.
Yeah, a trade. They're at about a 4K gold loss, a deficit right here, and they're getting their towers pushed in right now. A great objective pick up there by BTK, and it's starting to show where the damage is starting to come in. Now they're able to push forward, and look at them looming here on the Night Horde. They're looking for an opportunity. Unfortunately, they don't find one, but the patience is something to kind of put out there.
But this is where I'm a little worried, right? The later this game goes, the easier it'll be for BTK to push through and close it out. I mean, you have Zia on a carry. You have, what, 3, 4 fighters, 4 frontline heroes that a carry should be able to burst down with ease.
Oh, Mikasa finds himself on the wrong end of a spatial migration, followed by the Violet Requiem. The rest of Night Horde comes in to his aid. In comes Fly Chicken, does miss the ult, earns himself a stun for his efforts, and the rest of Night Horde back up to their tower. Conceal play out there. Shark looking for an angle while Moba Zane is clearing out the jungle.
Yeah, and then also the tier 2 on the bot side does fall as well, so the map bleeding blue right now for BTK. Tier 3 will fall in the mid lane alongside all of this massive advantage that BTK has been stacking. There goes the Corrosion Scythe, the Golden Staff picked up by Zia, working for that core trinity.
Ooh, a big pop up there. And they do find a stun on a to-flied chicken. Lord is out, and it looks like BTK very quickly going to turn their attention back down. I'm not sure if they're going to go for it, but they're clearing up the lanes as they move. Just a smooth, well-oiled machine here. All right, guys, as we go in here, Zia putting the damage on there. That's going to go ahead, set them up for this first Lord. Zia doing a great job now trying to put the damage on there. Fly Chicken trying to protect him. Mikasa coming in from the side. The rest of Night Horde here in tow as the Lord gets pulled out and reset. Mobazane comes here, greets the Lord up here to the side, does reset it. They're looking for a fight with the rest of Night Horde. Chicken and Zia on the back end, trying to watch the flank here as both teams kind of vying for position here right now. Both teams trying to be patient, not make a mistake, not dive in for a fight that they are not ready for. And you can see both teams trying to do their best to kind of keep these minion waves at bay as well. From the bottom, Zia going to go ahead and clear out the bottom. Mobazane cleared out the mid before he starts on this. Oh my foe, keeping the watchful eye on the Lord. Oh, they do lock on to Mikasa, who dives in deep. That might be the first mistake from the back end. Fly Chicken gets tossed up by Legend. Is that going to be enough? The rest of Night Horde is backing off, and that's going to give a clean Lord to the side of BTK.
Able to extend this match even more in their favor now with this Lord on their side. They should be able to take the remaining tier 2 turrets. Gosu Night Horde forced to be very passive this game, and not having a traditional marksman is not really working in their favor. Not to mention Dez is having a very hard time in his jungle. Just look at the invasion plays from BTK, putting pressure all across the map.
Well, for me, it's like what they don't really have that late game insurance, that late game burst that's going to come through, unless you're kind of leaning on Mikasa. But like right now, you have Zia starting to come online. All BTK needs to do is use that heavy front line that they have, get the CC down, allow Zia to do his work with the speedy light wheel, and there just really is not an answer on the side of Gosu Night Horde, as BTK just moving from one lane to the next like clockwork.
Yeah, and the clock is definitely ticking and not in Gosu Night Horde's favor as BTK is looking to push open the base.
Ooh, Glorious Pathway comes out, and that is still... Oh, they actually take down the Lord before the tower comes out. Chicken dives in under the tower, earns himself some CC of his own, and there is a nice Violet Requiem that comes out. Zia finds the kill onto Mikasa. Still not really able... Oh, Shark! He's gonna get lifted. Fly Chicken actually has to go in to defend Shark to get him to safety. So they do protect some of these... Oh, as I say that, I was gonna say they protect the high grounds, but that's gonna be the mid-high ground that goes down for Night Horde.
Yeah, gonna be able to open up that base. Gosu Night Horde left to pick up the pieces, going in for another inhibitor play on the bot side. Will take it with no problems, and now focusing back on the jungle, seeing the Winter Crown picked up by Legend, the Blade of Despair picked up by Yellow BC. Yellow BC though, it's been hard, right? You're running on this Zeusin, and it's not really been effective this entire game. On the other hand, though, it's been helping Zia kind of thrive. He's able to fight from a distance, not really too worried about Gosu Night Horde being able to even dive in on him with the pressure that BTK's been providing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering about this the Suyu pick, if it was something that was part of their composition, part of their plan, or if simply it was there to take it away from Mobazane, as we saw how great he was in the last game of the series last week on the new hero. Because they're just not able to find it. We do have a conceal play in here. Hoon guided by the rest. Oh, with a flicker comes in there, find themselves an airborne Mikasa. Hoon with the cleanup there, and is going to go ahead and put those auto attacks out. From the backside, Oh My Foe comes in, but is greeted by 5 members of BTK who put the boots to him. And now with these 2 minions, are BTK going to be able to close this up? A lot of CC diving onto Night Horde, 50% on the core. They do find a kill onto Dez. It's just Legend alone, and that is going to be game 1 to BTK.
A major victory to be able to start this series in their favor for their debut in the playoffs for the NACT fall season. 16-4-35. BTK able to reign supreme. They were able to just ease through a lot of these objectives with little to no problem. It looked in the beginning like Gosu Nighthorde had some answers, but the later the game went, you could just definitely tell a little bit of a push from BTK's side, just overwhelming Nighthorde's composition.
Well, and with a team like BTK, I want to say that early game is the big thing. You can't just hold the line against BTK because that's all they're looking to do is to extend the game, especially with a composition like that. They're just looking to extend it to a point where they're going to be able to pop off with their power spikes, where they have the Trinity build for Zia, where Mobazane has gotten where he's able to get his items on the Julian as well. You need to be making progress forward on them, because once they hit that power spike, they are a snowball, they are a wrecking ball that is coming through, and there's going to be very little you can do to stop them.
Yeah, I mean, look at the tower damage, 0% all the way across the board for the side of Gosu Nighthorde. But overall, pretty much flawless game from the Bloodthirsty Kings. Jumping into game number 2 for the side of Gosu Nighthorde. I mean, I just really wasn't a fan of the Suyu inside of the gold lane. I feel like they should have went for something a little bit more traditional, especially up against this carry. We got to see a lot of damage dished out over there by Zia as well, and no focus to really dive and take him down. So I'm wondering overall, what was the game plan for pushing that or forcing that Suyu into the gold lane up against the carry? We just have yet to see it. And when you do these drafts that are at least what we're not typically used to seeing for this or in the regular season, even just NACT wise, we got to see why do you pick this up. So maybe back to the drawing board is where Gosu Nighthorde needs to go.
Well, and it's one of the key points when drafting outside of the box is that you need to still respect what is inside the box and why it is there, why the meta is a certain way. And right here, you kind of saw that, especially once it started getting to the late game, there was really no recourse for the side of Nighthorde to actually be able to answer back. They didn't really have that damage in the late game. Nobody was getting fed, and nobody was really answering Zia, who was basically solo pushing up at the top.
Yeah, and that's really a problem, especially with your ADC, especially with a carry who just thrives on the frontline heroes to be able to shred them down. A tank burster, as you see in the synergy from BTK, able to push through the mid lane, able to take majority of the inhibitors, and then close out the game with an early finish. Definitely kind of raises the question on how will Gosu Nighthorde respond to this, right? I would definitely say having a more of a unorthodox draft should not be something they're going for. They need to go for something that's a little bit more staple meta. It's kind of like what Liz said opening up the stream today. If it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So hopefully they find an answer, and I definitely think it's going to start within the gold lane.
Well, yeah, and that's why a lot of these decision makings are so important. Like, and she brought up a good point too. Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But is what you have good enough? Is it not broken against a team like BTK, where you're going to need to maybe try something outside the box, where you're going to need to bring that little bit of extra against this team? And we're going to see what else they can kind of pull out here. We have been told that they're kind of going to be very fluid with who's playing role, where they're going to be going, so that bias. But like we saw with the last one, BTK just kept a steady hand, kept a really good draft that kind of leaned into that late game with some early game assurances too. You had the Gwen on the roam position, you had the Khalid in the XP, so you had that early game to kind of see you through into that late game, and it's something that's kind of textbook for a composition, and something that really kind of helped them out against the Nighthorde.
You know, it's also really kind of hard to read because, as production kind of told us, Gosu Nighthorde, I don't know if they're going to stick to that plan, but they said that they plan on switching their roles every single game. So maybe, hey, that's not the role that works. Maybe we're going to see some adjustments for game number 2, which could possibly pull out a new synergized team when you put different players in different situations. Like, we got to see Dez this time. He's running in the jungle, but we've seen times where he's actually running inside of the gold lane.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something at least. It's something that you, like I said, you're up against a team like BTK, pull out all the stops. Why not try something different? And that's what they're trying to do here. So, and it makes it, I want to say, it's a little bit more exciting. We don't know where any of these picks are going to be going, so it's kind of interesting to try to theory craft once these picks do come up. And like we were talking about, a lot of the good drafts has kind of they're good because of the fluidity of the picks. You don't know where they're going to go. So you have to plan for two different things, like those Edith early picks or the potentially sometimes the Hylos or something like that. You don't know where some of them are going to go. On the side, Night Horde's going to go ahead and start off with the Matilda ban, and yeah, BTK answers back with they have the Fanny and the Khalid taken out.
Yeah, the Gatot still available for Ghost to Night Horde to pick up first if that is a game plan for them. The Phobius is still on the board as well. Now going to be banned out from BTK. Not going to let that one go with ease. But do you pick up the Gatot here? A lot of teams kind of prioritize that. But no, they're going to go in for the chip instead. So they're going to add some mobility on the board for them to be able to kind of keep BTK on their toes.
Yeah, this is something interesting because of the map presence that chip provides. Do we answer that with map pressure of our own? We've seen that Hoon is very flexible, very fluid when it comes to the Lu Yi. We can bring that out there, but no, BTK can very immediately answer. I mean, I've seen it talked about that Zane has really been favoring the new hero, So You, and you're going to have Gatakacha out there as well. That's a lot of good early game assurance for the side of BTK.
Yeah, we've seen him kind of dominate in the jungle with the Soyu, so maybe the same story for game number 2 if Night Horde takes it lightly. Now, the early game, we got to see Night Horde kind of look like they were about to start shining, but quickly overturned by BTK. So hopefully with this second game, they can kind of equalize the momentum, at least match that BTK is pushing out. Speaking of tempo, though, Night Horde is going to go ahead and pull out this Alpha, and it's going to be paired up with the Faramis, so they're going to have some sustainability to lean in on. But this is the second Alpha appearance for them 2 times in a row. We got to see Dez run it in game number 1 as the jungle, and I'm assuming with it picked up again, this should possibly be Dez running the jungle again with the Alpha.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting. I mean, we never know. They might mix it up on us, but it's going to give them a lot of sustain here. You're going to have a lot of that CC that comes out from Chip. You've got the Nether Realm from Faramis. The one thing, though, I'm kind of looking for is some burst damage, some burst potential from the side of Night Horde, so that when Chip goes in with those portals, they're going to be able to actually find a kill. And we need to make sure that the person we're trying to burst down is not Gatakacha, because I guarantee that is going to go south very quickly.
Speaking of south, we are going to be seeing a mage who's had a couple of appearances in the NACT regular season, but this is going to be a first for the playoffs, and that is going to be the Eve, the RWM, to drop down and take control of an entire area. May be a possible game plan for BTK, especially on these turtles and these lore plays. Not to mention, could get some pickoffs on the side lanes if you position it right. The only weakness when it comes to the Eve is you're kind of more stationary, especially when it comes to a composition who can Alpha, one of those heroes who can definitely get that job done. The Chip, very mobile as well, is going to be another thing that Hoon will have to watch out for. But it's definitely something Hoon's comfortable on playing. We've seen him do it time and time again in the NACT. Paired up with the Gatat as well. They have crowd control. They have additional CC when you're in the RWM because of the slow that it provides on top of that.
Yeah, it's looking it up as Eve has a 50% win rate right now in NACT. I think 2 of those actually came from Hoon, who's actually been very well when it comes to the synergy that BTK provides, I want to call it the Wombo combos that come out from them too. So you're going to have the Eve, you're going to have the RWM, you're going to have the entire team kind of boxed in it. If they try to leave, they're going to get rooted down, which will be the optimum time for Gatakacha to come in with his ultimate as well. And you know, Moba's being able to kind of clean it. Probably going to be looking for a little bit more damage or setting potential for their last pickup here, as we're waiting on Night Horde for their last single pickup.
Well, we are going to be seeing the Ruby slotted most likely inside of the gold lane for Zia. It's this Irithel. We know Irithel is really great at kiting inside the gold lane and fighting from a distance with the high mobility, even stacked up with the sprint possibly to work in Yellow's, or not Yellow's favor, but wait. Okay.
No, we don't know.
We don't know, but the marksman's favor But the thing that works in the element for BTK is the crowd control, and they're going to stack that up with the Belleric on top of that. They have so much CC that if you're caught by any one of these players, it's a recipe for disaster. It's like stepping into quicksand and trying to run through it. It just doesn't work. But sustainability is what works on the side of Nighthorde, right? You have Legend, who is going to be running on this Faramis, who can keep the team alive. Not to mention the Alpha is very sustainable as well. To also stay alive. We don't really know. We can't trust what we're seeing right now because they like to switch things last minute. It might not even be Dez in the goal position. Last time he ran the Alpha game number 1, it was in the jungle. So we're gonna wait. We're just gonna take this with a grain of salt as we push forward for game number 2.
Yeah, and the big thing here, you talked about it, the CC. The big thing for me is going to be some of these rotations. How we're going to handle the chip being able to come in with those teleporters. Is BTK going to keep this composition nice and tight to where even if they get caught, they're still catching like 3 or 4 members that they're going to have to contend with. I don't really see BTK kind of rotating alone. That's something I hope that they've been working on this week, as opposed to like last week when Joyboss was really able to take advantage of some of the rotations from Zane here. But ladies and gentlemen, game 2 of BTK taking on Gosu Nighthorde.
And the Soyu running in the jungle for BTK. Moba Zane looking to kind of repeat the past with his dominant performance on it. Can he do it again up against Gosu Nighthorde? Now, in the gold lane, this is where we're going to kind of keep a close eye on, right? This is now going to be a Ruby up against an Iritha. Looks like Yellow this time around is going to run a traditional marksman. Is this what they kind of were lacking for game number 1? Could this be the difference for them to even out the series?
Yeah, and they're already doing a good job of starting to refuse the invade early. You saw Mobazane over there trying to take an enemy minion there. The rest of the team kind of clamored around to make sure that that didn't happen. Oh, my foe doing a good job keeping vision. Oh, he actually, as I say that, he actually might get caught. Goes on to Hoon there. No worse for whereas Hoon finds the safety of his tower.
We also got to keep a close eye on the Belleric. We don't see it too often. But with Shark running it, he's going to have that Wrath of the Dryad to be able to spread those vines and deal some AoE damage and taunts.
Ooh, my foe takes a heap of damage, Mobazane. Ooh, very close. Read that like a book for Dez coming in. Is able to back it off. And just like that, an evil queller right to the jaw of Dez for his efforts.
Yeah, and right now, off to a slow start from both sides. 2 minutes in, neither side has found a casualty.
Yeah, speaking of which, oh, here comes the Avatar of the Guardian. It does find a mark and a flicker out. Here comes the real-world manipulation, trying to make Legend pay. He's going to pull back Chicken. Out comes the Alpha Charge, but Chicken, look at, this is what I was talking about, that Gatakacha. Look at all the health he's able to sustain there. Shark finds a kill onto Dez. The rest of BTK pushing forward into Mikasa. Shark unfortunately finds himself on the wrong end of that mid tower, so they do not leave deathless. 1-2 in BTK's favor.
But that's a trade that I would take any day. I mean, they only lost their roamer in that engagement, and they can definitely afford that, especially on top of taking a turtle, which is going to give them a lead up against Gosu Nighthorde for the 3-minute mark. Now up by 1,000 gold. Now, this is Zia running on the Ruby. Yet he lacks a lot of damage, but he's very sustainable and can definitely be a nuisance. And the crowd control and sustainability is what makes up for it. But on the other side of the table, Yellow BC, he's going to be hitting like a truck, and he's going to have some high attack speed. Also, to be able to kite up against BTK as they do try and chase him down, which means he could play for survivability and be the late game ADC that Gosu leans on.
Ooh, they're actually going to go in onto Fly Chicken. Mikasa there, Mobazane from the back, providing some of that support. A lot of aggro. Falls onto them. Oh, my foe gets taken down. Here comes the Nether Realm. Dez finds a kill onto Fly Chicken, and Mikasa goes down. At the bottom lane, you see Yellow BC now starting to get pushed in by Zia there as well.
Another 2-for-1 trade, though, still going to work in BTK's favor, extending the lead 4-2 at the 4-minute mark. But right now, neither side has really been able to have the map focus to be able to burst down the turret. But Zia, we were talking about damage.
Oh, with the flicker, and Mobazane comes in to clean it up. No fair. He was expecting a fair fight one-on-one and gets taken out by Mobazane. Meanwhile, though, I want to say Gosu Nighthorde very quick. Avatar of the Guardian. Legend gets caught. And is he going to get aggroed as well? Oh, my foe from the back end puts some damage onto Mobazane. Mikasa comes in, does miss the penalty zone as Fly Chicken and Shark zoning out the rest of Nighthorde while Zane takes the turtle.
Neither side will find a casualty, but another objective going over to BTK. 2 turtles so far within this game as we are now trickling in to 5 minutes. Zia on the bot side, though, doing a great job of proxying these minions and putting on pressure to Yellow, denying him being able to rotate and protect that turret. Look at all the gold plating. It's already gone from the tier 3 turret.
Yeah, and right now, and doing a good job. He was actually originally getting pushed by Yellow back into his tower. And I want to say, Yellow, I can see the mindset that you want because as you get into mid and late game, Yellow is going to be able to pick up perhaps that Demon Hunter sword that will be able to kind of chunk down some of these thicker boys on the side of BTK. But right now, he is suffering.
Yeah, 1,100 gold difference between Zia and Yellow so far. Zia did pick up the War Axe as well to be able to sustain himself in these fights.
Ooh, and they do put some damage on the Mikasa. He has to use that penalty zone defensively to get away back to the tower. And that, we do have 50 seconds, so he'll still have the penalty zone back up for the next turtle.
Look at BTK's camera, all of them sitting on the couch, except for Shark. He's in his own world.
Yeah, Shark is chilling right now. Oh my foe right now. Meet and greet between him, Shark, and Zia. Yellow BC trying to do his best to provide some backup cover here. Real world manipulation comes down. Oh my foe has to retreat to the tower. And speaking of that, Dez gets killed off screen. Mikasa trying with all his might to defend the tower. And oh my foe gets picked off by Zia.
A good 2-3 split from BTK into the side lanes. Very effective and is allowing them to push in the turrets even further. The tier 3 does fall. Zia able to claim it on top of taking down Oh My Foe. The turtle does spawn in. This will be the last turtle for game number 2. Tier 3 falls in the mid lane.
One ability from Zane chunks down Mikasa to 50% health. Fly Chicken earns himself a stun. Ooh, Shark was pulled back into the tower, but is able to use that little sprint to get himself to safety.
Yeah, and right now, with a 7-2 lead, it's not the highest in terms of kills, but in terms of objectives, that's where BTK is skyrocketing. Now up by 6,000 gold, ahead of Gosu Nighthorde. Just pretty much a step ahead of them in every single situation. I'd love to kind of take a look at some of their items on the board just to kind of see how far ahead they are in terms of getting to the core items needed to try and close this one out. But Yellow BC, we still got to keep an eye on him. He is the traditional marksman. If they can kind of wait for that mid to late game, maybe he'll be able to deal the damage necessary and use the range and kiting to his advantage.
Well, I mean, even from the levels alone, Zane is 4 levels higher than the entire team of Gosu Nighthorde. So that means that any single fight that he is involved in, you need to retreat. You're not going to be able to win that. You need to try to find these pickoffs. Mobazane goes in. Mikasa throws a little bit of damage out there. Comes in with the penalty zone onto 3 members. In comes the Nether Realm to keep them topped off from the side. Yellow BC trying to put on the damage. Oh my foe comes in from the side. Mobazane still swinging away. Finds himself a kill onto Yellow. Dez is out as well, trying to help out his team, but now he is cornered between 4 members of BTK, and down he goes. I'm Offended lands onto Legend, finds himself back and cornered behind his tower as he and Mikasa fend off this defense.
And that's just a level difference when it comes to micro, right? To be able to engage and disengage and then go right back in to be able to sustain in the fight even when it's not in your favor is where BTK is kind of outclassing Gosu Nighthorde right there. They're able to take down Yellow BC on top of that, who's now 0-2-0. Does have the Hoss Claws to kind of work in his favor. The Lord spawned in, quickly bursted down by the Bloodthirsty Kings. Now we'll be able to use this in their advantage to possibly take down some of the tier 2 turrets. BTK still putting on that pressure though, taking all of the farm away from Gosu, not giving them any room to breathe.
And at the 9-minute mark, BTK have entered a 10k gold lead onto Gosu Nighthorde. Still trying to mount the pressure up at the top lane. Lord coming through the bottom. The rest of Mikasa and the Legend, the 4 of Nighthorde trying to fend this off. They're at the very least most likely going to be losing this mid tower to be left to only high grounds. And especially with as tanky as they are, Shark's not really scared. There's nobody here that can burst him down. Mobazane coming in from the side. Ooh, a little bit of a taunt there coming from Shark. And down to only the high grounds we are on the side of Nighthorde.
Yeah, we did get to see the Great Dragon Spear picked up by Yellow BC, so we will have a little bit of that CD reduction and crit that could work in his favor, but the clock is definitely ticking, and BTK trying to close this out.
Yeah, they're now starting to mount some pressure on to this Lord, down to about 10%. He actually got very far into this core. I want to say it's past 50% there. Oh, we come in with the penalty zone. Avatar of the Guardian is out, misses the mark. Fly Chicken does not find it. Hoon finds a kill onto Mikasa with that real-world manipulation. Oh My Foe goes down as well. And BTK enforcing their will. It's just Yellow left there, 50% left, and that is a full team wipe and another BTK victory.
And a fancy finish on top of it. The Bloodthirsty Kings holding their crown for this series. Now up 2-0. One more game to go, and they could match the pace of Cloud9.
Yeah, and a great game played by them here for that finish as well. And I want to say, I commented, I said that Fly Chicken missed his mark with the Avatar of the Guardian, but what he was doing was zoning out the rest of Gosu Nighthorde to push them back while Hoon had them locked in with the real world manipulation and was bursting them down. So I want to say a well thought out and nice synergy coming there from BTK, and unfortunate right now for Nighthorde, who have not been able to find their leg against BTK.
Yeah, it's just all the elements that they have at their disposal they're using up against Gosu Nighthorde, and it's been transitioning well in the Bloodthirsty King's favor. Like you said, the RWM for the ground control, but then also Chicken as a distraction with the Avatar of the Guardian, forcing everybody out of that inhibitor turret and needing to spread out to not get set up. But if they stayed in, they'd get set up inside of a RWN, and that would be more kills to work in Hoon's favor. That's 2 wins so far, and this is going to go down as potentially the fastest game we've had today between Series 1 and now, sitting at that 10-minute 27 mark.
BTK trying to close this one early. They are ready to go home. But it's great to see the synergy coming together for them. And right from the get-go, very little, I want to say, there were little signs. Yellow in the early game was able to kind of push back Zia on the Ruby, but as soon as like reinforcements came there, they were very quickly able to overwhelm some of these lanes, even to the point that Terizla wasn't able to do much. Even came in a great penalty zone onto 3 members, but by that time, BTK was so far ahead that none of these fights were really mattering. I was talking about it before. Zane was sitting at 3-4 levels over the highest member of Gosu Nighthorde. When we were looking at some of the gold leads there, he was about 4K up himself. 4K up on the highest member of Nighthorde. And this is one of the things we've talked about for Zane for years, is his ability to farm. No matter what's going on in game, he's always able to get the farm, keep his farm up, and keep that going forward.
You know what's interesting too is a lot of teams have been banning out the Soyu, but Gosu Nighthorde, it looked like they thought they had a plan for it, and maybe just kind of sticking to the staple meta in terms of drafting should be what they focus in on. I mean, you can clearly see it's not a hero that you want to let go with ease, especially if you don't have a proper plan to defend up against it. We didn't see a plan right there. I mean, Zane, he went through that entire game without a single death, able to kind of thrive, put on the pressure, and rack up those kills. Maybe jumping into the third game, and potentially a last game if they don't find some answers soon, they should ban it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like something that Zane is really starting to favor here. Here's that little zoning out there from Fly to Chicken while the real world manipulation was going on there as well. Just a great job here. And unfortunate for the side of Nighthorde, there's not much that can be done here as Yellow was getting picked off as well.
Yeah, now Private, here we are yet again, kind of similar to the first series of the day, right? It's 2-0, potential for another sweep. Now, I always say it and I still stick by it. I want to see this go the distance. I want to see something that goes all the way to a game 5, but it's going to take a lot for Gosu Nighthorde to make that happen.
Well, and that's kind of coming in. Even with the chip, they weren't able to kind of capitalize on it. And what do you give up to have the Soyu or I mean, your side too? We saw them, they had it on their team in the first game, and they weren't able to really capitalize with it. So it's anybody's guess what you do against this team, and especially when it comes to kind of getting caught out there alone. That's what we saw coming from Shark. He's able to find some of these pickoffs. He's able to punish the enemy, roam when he's out on his own, when the team's not able to back him up. So it'll be interesting to see what the side of Gosu Nighthorde can do here with possibly their last chance to kind of keep their hopes alive here in the top bracket.
Well, I will say, at least I guess they didn't stay true to what we were told earlier. I mean, it looked like they were running the same role for game number 2, so maybe they're going to run that for game number 3. I don't know if I'd recommend switching it for a potential match that could knock you down to the lower bracket. I feel like with as far as they've came, they have to definitely probably just stick to it and iron out those kinks. But it's rough, right? I mean, you're looking at the Bloodthirsty Kings. They've been pretty dominant on all the neutral objectives, even when it comes to the 1v1 matchups inside of the gold lane. Even when you do get that traditional marksman, which we thought could have been a potential answer, you still see the staple meta, such as a Ruby, over in the gold lane. So we got to go back, but we're running out of time. I feel like possibly definitely banning out the Soyu is step number 1. Get that off the table as soon as possible. We know BTK is a team that heavily focuses on getting Zane comfortable. They thrive when he's able to find that farm. They thrive when he's able to get these turtles in these neutral objectives. They need a composition that could be a little bit more aggressive and stop him from rotating around, because when he climbs on those objectives, he's pretty much putting everybody on the table when it comes to getting their items and those power spikes.
Well, and that's the problem too, is because if you start focusing on Zane, there's a lot you still have to contend with, because Shark is probably, well, I mean, undoubtedly one of the best roams in North America. So if you're trying to take out Zane, that's something that's going to have to be on your mind. Where is Shark? What is Shark doing? What can he do to punish me for trying to go after Zane? It's not impossible though, because we saw last week Zane was getting caught a lot. Shark was making some of the rotations. Maybe the answer is to try to put some pressure on a lane across the map. Once you're putting pressure there, you mean you have Shark that needs to rotate up there, and maybe you have Zane, you catch him rotating alone. But I mean, it's all great to theorize up here while we're watching, but in game, I'm sure it's a different story to try to create that type of pressure. You've got two very solid XP and gold laners in Zia and Fly Chicken that we've seen here.
Yeah, they're definitely showcasing that they're ready to move on to the semifinals, and we got to see that spark lit up from the side of Gosu Nighthorde, especially with this being game number 3 and the stakes getting even higher. Like we said, the higher you climb up that ladder for the NACT fall season, the colder it gets. Now, the gold lane matchup's definitely been something that's been interesting, right? I mean, Yellow, he's rotating around a lot of different. We've seen him on the marksman position as well. We've seen Dez on the marksman position, and the question is, who is the best marksman for Gosu Nighthorde? Wait, are we done with the draft? All right, we are done with the draft. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not wasting any time. I know y'all want to see the show, and we're here to bring it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I just had to do a double TikTok so I can like try to absorb what I'm seeing to see where the pluses, the minuses are here. We're gonna have the early game coming in from the side of Nighthorde with the Nolan pickup, with the Matilda out there. You've got that early game assurance, and even with the CC out there as well, with some of that tower taking ability coming out fresh. And on the other side, I want to say a BTK, Fly Chicken on the show. I actually don't remember seeing Fly Chicken on a show yet. But Mobazane, I want to say, dare I say, probably one of the best alphas, definitely one of the best alphas in North America. But the argument can be made about how good he is internationally on that. So it's going to be a very rough one to overcome for Nighthorde.
And speaking of overcoming, the biggest challenge yet for Ghost Unite Hoarders, ladies and gentlemen, we are jumping into game number 3 of the playoffs. Who will move on to the semifinals? Who will be knocked down to the lower bracket between BTK and Ghost Unite Hoarders?
Yeah, we're about to find out. Hanging on by a thread right now is Gosu Nighthorde, not wanting to get relegated down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. Now, yeah, you said it, right? Zane running on this alpha, he's definitely kind of spearheaded the way for that inside of North America. It wasn't as effective in MSC, but it's been very effective for him in the North American region. Zia, though, he's running on this Beatrix. We've seen a couple of Beatrix so far. I want to say maybe just one this entire NACT, but they got the double sniper composition.
Ooh, a flicker forced out by Oh My Foe. Shark hiding in the pixel bush does find the taunt, but not able to burst down Matilda. That's going to be an alpha charge down, but he'll definitely have that ultimate back up for this next turtle take.
Yeah, I was talking about the double sniper composition. If Hoon and Zia can time it just right, they could potentially two-shot somebody if they get them in their crosshairs. Maybe that's the game plan for this. I always love to see a Navaria paired alongside a Beatrix.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting here, especially with how some of these matches go. We haven't seen too many. Ooh, actually, Shark's going to go ahead, get some damage onto Legend. And right there, from the back there, is Hoon to kind of provide some of that suppressive fire. The turtle seems to have been up for a bit now. Neither team really vying for a position just yet. Oh My Foe hiding in the pixel bush gives a little vision for Shark, who's going to hide up in the L bush. They do pull out the turtle. Zane really right up in the front. They're going to go ahead, lock on the Moba Zane, force out the alpha charge, and the guiding wins from Oh My Foe. Find him from the back. Fly Chicken finds a way of the dragon. No kill just yet for either team. Turtle does get pulled out. Looks like they're looking for another reset. They really want to force out some of these fights. Shark being chased down. Mikasa putting on some damage. Mobazane finds the Lord underneath a huge astral echo that comes out as well. And just like that, they actually able to get away scot-free. No kills on either side.
But it's these little things that are keeping BTK ahead of Gosu Nighthorde, right? Even though they didn't get a kill, they're still able to find that turtle, and they're that team. We say it time and time again. You give them an inch, they take a mile. I mean, they're only up by 200 gold. Not a massive difference when it comes to average teams. When it comes to a team like BTK, they know how to make the most out of the situation. Yellow BC, though, did just pick up the Haas Claws, so he does have some sustainability, especially going up against Zia with this Beatrix.
Yeah, no, there goes Shark. He was looking for the taunt on the Oh My Foe. Runs into the wall. Ooh, a circling eagle onto Shark. I mean, I almost feel like that's a little bit of a waste. Mikasa goes in, trying to put the damage on with the yo-yos, and it is not enough. The rest of Nighthorde going to have to back up.
Yeah, right now, both sides still treading the waters, trying to figure out who's going to be able to swim a little bit further for the early game. No turrets have been dealt any chip damage, or barely any chip damage, which means it's still a pretty even game. We haven't really seen too much of a contest, though, for Zane. He is running this alpha. We know it's very sustainable on kind of surviving on the invasion plays in the jungle.
Oh My Foe latched on with the circling eagle on Nahoon, who very quickly finds his way under the tower to force Oh My Foe to give up that ult. Ooh, actually, Oh My Foe on the wrong side of the BTK jungle is not as lucky, and that is a first blood for BTK.
Yeah, a little overly aggressive. Even with the heroes such as the Matilda, you gotta know just how far you can overextend. And the earlier you fall, the later your heals are going to come into effect to keep Gosu Nighthorde alive. So definitely something Oh My Foe is going to have to keep a mental note of. Mikasa does pick up this War Axe to be able to sustain himself in these fights and to be able to deal some additional damage. You're going to see the turtle now spawned in. Shark in position for a possible contest. Nighthorde now possibly circling around for the objective.
Yeah, a Shark over there just trying to bait out the turtle, try to get the rest of Nighthorde to kind of show their cards here. Astral Echo is out. From the backside, Hoon going to have to flicker out of a fracture. And Mikasa in trouble, gets caught and kicked. He's able to get away. But Mobazane very quickly working on this turtle, finds himself a retribution. Alpha charge in there, finds a kill onto Oh My Foe.
Yeah, another turtle for the Bloodthirsty Kings as well. Now leading 2 kills to none. Oh my foe. Both of those deaths were him. Still not able to kind of play passive and provide the heals that Gosu Nighthorde can lean in on, but kind of feeding the economy for the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Yeah, oh, a flicker out from Chicken there. He finds the way of the dragon, flickers out, and then comes back in so they can juggle the tower aggro with Zane. What a great play there by BTK, and they find the kill up at top and the tower.
Which is going to be a major threat for Gosu Nighthorde, as now it's going to open up the free reign for Chicken to be able to rotate and traverse across the map. Maybe be able to flex down to the bottom side to help Zia possibly take down that tier 3 turret up against Yellow, who's been doing a good job contesting it. But you are seeing a 3-1 lead inside of BTK's favor now at the 6-minute mark, kind of similar to game number 2.
And Shark kind of hiding out in the bush. Here comes an avatar of the Guardian. And still, Shark able to very quickly get away from that back end fight. And now he's going to go ahead and join Zia at the bottom. I don't even know if Nighthorde realized it. They went to go join at mid, then realized, oh god, we just let bottom open. And they're going to have to go ahead and defend and take away some of those minions.
Yeah, at least they have Oh My Foe down there to keep Yellow alive, so they will be able to hold on to that tier 3 turret. But you did see a little bit of a focus from Gosu Nighthorde in the mid lane. They're trying to kind of find a way to take down that turret.
Circling Eagle onto Mobazane. He goes through with it and gets bursted down by Zia. He just disappeared into dust there. The rest of Nighthorde trying to focus on this purple buff. They don't want to get it stolen. He gets his purple buff stolen. I believe Shark got that.
That is very rough in terms of the economy. Another turret will fall as well. This time on the bot side, tier 3 pushed in by Zia.
Yeah, and they try to put some damage on the Shark. He just goes ahead, recalls in their face, and then uses the avatar of the Guardian to get away. Alpha Charge comes in. Dez takes a heap of damage. That Guiding Winds just narrowly saves him from a deadly fate there. Legend goes in with an IMU avatar. The Guardian misses all of BTK. Now Chicken and Mobazane focusing on this turtle. Rest of the team starting to come in, and that's going to be another turtle for Mobazane.
If Deadly was not enough, now throw some Despair in the mix as Zia picks up the BOD to be able to dish out some heavy physical damage.
Oh, Shark finds 2 members of Nighthorde hiding in a bush. Fly Chicken trying to create some distance. Taken down very low by Mikasa. Is he going to be able to find an escape? Gets taken down. Oh My Foe with the kill there. Able to find something at least, but Mobazane answers back with the kill onto Oh My Foe. Mikasa gets burst. Oh, he actually bursts down Shark before Zia puts the finishing touches on him. A 6-3 lead for BTK.
Yeah, but I'm worried about Zia, right? He's now 3-0-1, highest kills in the game so far, tied up with Mobazane, but just picked up that BOD to hit like a truck. Gosu Nighthorde needing to be careful on these next engagements. Needs to know if they need to play passive. I don't know if they can take the fight. They're already 4,000 gold behind the Bloodthirsty Kings. Berserker's Fury has been picked up, though, by Yellow BC for that crit. But it's going to be hard, especially paired up against Zia, because you're already seeing the damage on the way.
Yeah, he just chunked him to down 80% of damage. Oh, look at the damage coming in from Mobazane. Shark finds a kill onto Oh My Foe from the back end. Chicken finds a way of the dragon. Down goes Mikasa. Legend running for the safety of his tower. Shark is not shy, diving after the tower. In comes Fly Chicken, and Legend gets away. Meanwhile, creating that distance for Mobazane to take this mid tower.
The Bloodthirsty Kings has yet to find a turret on their side fall. They've been able to climb up this map piece by piece. Some surgical gameplay poetry in motion up against Gosu Nighthorde so far. Now left to kind of defend in their base. They have a tier 2 turret on the bot side, but they can't even push out to defend that with the pressure of BTK.
Ooh, a nice little Jeet Kune Do comes in. Fly Chicken does find the pop-up. Oh, Circling Eagle goes on the Fly Chicken, finds 3 members, and gets bursted down for his efforts.
Yeah, bursted down and need to be careful. I mean, it's like target practice right now for BTK when it comes to Oh My Foe. As soon as they spot him out, they're able to burst him down. 6 out of the 9 kills that they've gained have been from Oh My Foe. And without him in the mix, You don't have the guiding wind. You don't have the circling eagles. You don't have the sustainability to keep your team in the fight.
Yeah, and right now this is all BTK starting to clear out some of these lanes, going ahead and proxying the bottom lane so they can start on this next Lord. In comes Zane. Oh, they actually restarted it on accident, I believe. The rest of Night Horde, are they going to contest it? They have Nolan way up at the top, so I really doubt it, and that's going to be an easy one for BTK.
Yeah, another objective on their side. 3 turtles, 1 Lord, and 5 turrets. In climbing, now possibly going to take the tier 2 on the bot side, but Night Horde now extending into the jungle.
Ooh, they try to latch on. Is that going to be enough onto Zia? Oh, my foe in trouble. Does dodge an alpha charge, but gets caught by a way of the dragon. Zia finds himself some final shots there. Shark finds a kill of his own, diving into the back line onto Mikasa and a Legend. Ooh, Astral Orb from Hoon finds a Legend as minions are starting to push their way with Lord at the top.
3,000 gold lead for Zia. Well ahead of Yellow right now on this Irithel. Has a Hunter Strike, has a Sky Piercer, the BOD, Malefic Roar on top of that, and only really worried about the Berserker. Oh my goodness, Legend evaporated.
Yeah, and right now that's just the lead that BTK have right now and the power of that sniper. And we do have minions starting to push in all the lane. Well, actually, the mid lane's going to be the big one. They're going to go ahead and escort the Lord from the top. 4 members out here trying to defend. This might be the final push for BTK. All 5 members grouped up, looking for an angle. Astral Echo comes out there, followed by the Avatar of the Guardian. Alpha Charge cleans up 3 of them, and now another kill onto Mikasa, and that is game 3. BTK will be moving on to face Cloud9.
A seat in the semifinals has now been secured, and knocking Gosu Night Horde to the lower bracket. A clean 3-0 sweep for the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Yeah, and a very dominating last 2 games for BTK. First one, they took their time. They waited to get their power spike, seeing if there was anything crazy coming out of Night Horde. Once they got settled, once they kind of gauged the Night Horde of these last 2 games, it was basically pedal to the metal right from the beginning.
Yeah, and their foot was on the gas, and they just kept speeding up, not planning on stopping anytime soon. Look forward to seeing their match in the semifinals and seeing exactly how they're going to pair up against Cloud9. But right now, BTK, they're all together. They're boot camping it out, and you can tell it's making a difference.
Yeah, and that's very interesting right now. I mean, the Matilda pickup, there were a few opportunities that the Matilda went in, and I kind of questioning sometimes, like I'm sitting here wondering, does he know he can cancel? Because you don't have to go with that. He went on to some members there. I think there was one on the Shark, one on the Mobazane, that you really weren't going to be able to find a good opportunity. And almost, I mean, if your team would have followed, you probably would have cost them a few more deaths here right now. You can see here, tower damage, so little picked up by Gosu Night Horde. That just tells you about the pushing power from BTK here in all of the lanes.
Yeah, the Bloodthirsty Kings is not really a team that you can change your roster up on, right? You can't really just change your synergy at the drop of a dime and expect it to make the difference. BTK is a team that's known to kind of stick through the same team, at least for the regular season in the playoffs. Whereas Gosu Night Horde, I mean, we even got it from production. Even during this series, they were planning on switching their roster every single game, but then they started to realize how heavy BTK could hit, and they kind of changed their mind on that. So hopefully, as we do see them drop down to the lower bracket, we see them kind of iron out these kinks and go up against Godspeed for a good series.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see an interesting play here. Like, and that's what I was talking about there, is that Chicken went in, found the Way of the Dragon, flickered out so Mobazane could get aggro from the tower, then came back in with the Way of the Dragon. It was a really interesting play, and very interesting to see Chicken on the Cho, which I don't believe I've ever seen him on the Cho. So maybe adding a little bit more flexibility to their repertoire and to what they can put in that hero pool.
It definitely was impressive and a sight to see. Hope to see it again. Shark was on fire as well with the Skatat, just able to get those Avatar of the Guardians when necessary. And it's just been huge and very impactful. The whole team ready to kind of fight it out inside of the semifinals. Now, is this BTK especially all being together in boot camps. Will they be able to make a different story from what we've seen when they went up against Cloud9? That's definitely something we're going to be keeping a close eye on. But also, not to kind of lead things away from their opposers, Gosu Nighthorde. We got to see how they go up against Godspeed. All these teams, you know, they made it to top 4. Definitely something to be proud about. Nobody's officially been knocked out yet, but BTK and Cloud9 have gained some insurance on remaining in the upper bracket.
Yeah, and unfortunate for Gosu Nighthorde and Godspeed. I want to say tomorrow will be a last chance, as one of them will be going home.
Yeah, we got to see how our amazing host Liz feels about all this engagement.
I love how you always toss it back to me and not let the camera just flow. As expected, I mean, we all voted for BTK. They are in a boot camp. I mean, 4 of them are at least on that couch together, squeezing in. I wonder if there's not enough room on the couch for all 5. So we don't see Shark there. But congratulations to BTK with that series looking dominant, looking like they got it all together.
Yeah, dominant is definitely the word I would use as well. Full domination. And you didn't see a time at all during that entire series where they looked uncomfortable.
Yeah. I like how you're insinuating that the only reason Shark isn't there is because that couch wasn't big enough for 5 people in there. But yes, a very dominating victory for BTK here, and trying their best. Like I said, they went to a boot camp. They all got together so that they can put the best foot forward here for these matchups in the playoffs.
Yeah, and we can't wait to see them perform next week, because that's when the real magic happens. For Gosu Nighthorde and for Godspeed, they are dropped down to lower bracket, and like you guys mentioned, it is best out of 3s, so they gotta be careful. Any loss can just break it for one of these teams, and I'm glad that today we don't get to see any of our favorite teams get eliminated.
Yeah, we're still recovering from seeing 4 teams not make it into the playoffs, right? You got to give us a little bit more time before we start knocking them off. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be a totally different ball game. It's going to be the lower bracket fighting it out. And like we said, we're getting higher on that ladder, and we're going to be able to see soon who will be able to hold that banner for North America and represent us in M6.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. But I think you have somebody ready to talk to you, Liz.
Yeah, we have an interview with Zia from BTK. Hello. Okay. Hello, Zia. I like the camera angle, always catching us by surprise. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't. I wish I can hear you better. It's a little bit quiet on the quiet end. So we're doing the FaceTime again.
Hello. How about now?
Hello.
Is it okay now?
Hello. Yeah. I wish I can just go like here, huh? Hi, Zia. First off, congratulations on that victory. My question, I think a lot of us are wondering, like, why is Shark not chilling on the couch with you guys? Didn't you move all the way to Oklahoma just for Shark?
Oh, he's not here yet. He's gonna come like 2 days after, maybe tomorrow.
Does he live in the same city as where you guys are at right now?
Yeah, but he's a little bit far, like maybe like 2-3 hours away.
I see. And just a little bit about the game. We saw Bellaric this week, and then we saw Chang'e last week. So who is the mastermind behind these fantastic drafts that you guys have been making?
Well, the Chang'e is Hoon. The Bellaric is Shark.
Okay, so you guys, it's like independent decision making.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, we love that you are the most stable one right now for BTK, it seems. How are you guys adjusting to the boot camp so far? You moved in yesterday or so?
Yeah, we did move yesterday. I mean, we're doing pretty good. Better ping.
Yeah? Yeah, does anyone cook? Or are you guys ordering DoorDash every day?
Good question. No one's cooking. We just ordered.
You just order? Does any of you guys know how to cook?
I actually don't know. Because I don't cook. Well, that's for sure.
I hope you guys figure it out throughout this week. We saw on Hoon's Instagram story, actually, Moba Zane got the largest room in the boot camp. How did you guys make the room assignments?
That greedy bastard. Because he has more subs. That's what he said.
Okay. Okay, so which room did you get?
I got this. Not smallest. I got like the decent one.
You got a decent one? Okay. So I guess you are going by subs. Are you guys sharing rooms, any of you, or is it 5 rooms for each of you?
It's yeah, we do have 5 rooms here.
Oh, that's pretty good. You guys living a good life out here. Now that you guys have won this series, you will face Cloud9 again next week in the upper bracket semifinals. How do you plan to perfect your craft and win the series?
What do you think?
Tomorrow, yeah.
We're just gonna try our best. Draft accordingly, do better every rotation, and all that, and better decision makings.
Yeah, and we hope to see that. Now that you guys are settling into the boot camp, have you set up a practice schedule for the boot camp life, or like when you guys gonna wake up, how many games you're gonna play? Like, what is that gonna go for you guys?
We did probably like we start like 6 something, then we just play RG until
6 p.m.
until we get tired. Yeah, until we get tired, or maybe we could just do like depends if everyone's awake, then we just play.
So when are you guys planning to wake up every day? Because we know you guys have some crazy schedules.
I don't know if they fix their sleeping schedule, that's for sure.
Well, we hope to see that. Great performance, both of you. Hope one of you guys are gonna cook, and we hope you guys settle in the boot camp, and see you all tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye, Liz.
Bye. Well, I love